Chapter 291 Tofu Pudding. Lu Mingui was secretly delighted. It seemed that Ni Nionzi even knew when her shop opened, which meant that her shop had a good reputation. The Rouge shop's business is now a success. She laughed and said, "It's not too late to know now. Bring your wife with you then, and I'll give you a discount." Ship owner Ni readily agreed. "Great. I'll definitely go." As they were talking, several bowls of tofu pudding were brought out and placed on the low table. Captain Ni urged, "Eat it while it's hot. This place has the best tofu pudding in Suzhou. Especially the savory tofu pudding, the broth is made with chicken soup, it's so delicious. Every time I come here, I eat several large bowls of food. Don't worry about not being able to eat it all, tofu pudding won't fill you up." Lu Mingui didn't stand on ceremony and took a spoon to eat. This bowl is huge, filled to the brim with savory tofu pudding. The tofu pudding was topped with a brownish gravy, sprinkled with chopped scallions and crushed fried rice, and also had some finely chopped pickled cucumbers inside, and finally a few powdery dried shrimp. It looks beautiful and smells wonderful. Lu Mingui scooped a spoonful and put it in her mouth. She found the tofu pudding smooth and tender, with a rich chicken broth flavor. The fried rice was crispy and crunchy, and the pickled cucumber was salty and savory. There were also small dried shrimp in it, making it very delicious. The combination of several textures, soft, tender, fragrant, and crispy, is extremely delicious. She took 2 big bites and thought to herself, "I almost missed it this time. It really is this delicious. I wonder where the young woman selling tofu pudding does her business when she's not at the temple fair. I'll find out when the time comes and go eat there again." Then I thought of this boat owner, Mr. Ni. Could it be that he was so friendly just because I had ridden on his boat before? It's mostly because of that glass bowl from back then. The business was so brisk that the glass bowl must have sold for a good price, but she wasn't envious. If others sell at a higher price, it's because they have connections. In short, everyone has their own ability to handle the amount of food they can eat and how much they can handle. Of course, if Captain Ni also wants to buy glass bowls, he has some in stock. There are still a few glass items in the White House, or we can buy more glass items in the future and wait and see what he says. If she doesn't want to bring it up, she doesn't intend to bring it up first. You can't force someone to do something. Unlike Lu Mingui, who was preoccupied with her own thoughts, everyone in the family ate happily, their praises echoing throughout the house. "This tofu pudding is really good. It's delicious, both the salty and the sweet ones." The speaker was Song Xiaodong, who ate 2 bowls by himself, one sweet and one savory. She's still growing, and her belly is like a bottomless pit. No matter how much she eats, she doesn't feel bloated. Meanwhile, Captain Ni was also observing Lu Mingui's family. Compared to their hasty departure on the road, this family had changed quite a bit. He wore new clothes and shoes, and his face showed no signs of distress. Clearly, he was doing well. "Thinking of the Rouge shop I just mentioned, how long has it been since we arrived in Suzhou? And the Rouge shop is already thriving. It seems this family is indeed quite capable." Captain Ni thought that regardless of whether this family was clever, lucky, or had other backing, they were people he wanted to befriend. But you can't be too hasty, or it will seem like you're just looking for quick success. His smile grew even more eager. As he asked, "Did you go to burn incense? If you keep walking forward from here, you'll soon reach Xuanmiao Temple, where you can burn incense and pray." He also said, "Xuanmiao Temple is very popular today, and it is very efficacious." Lu Mingui nodded. "I was just about to go. We chatted for a few more minutes." However, Captain Ni did not mention the glass bowl. Lu Mingui pretended not to know anything, finished her tofu pudding, and then took her leave. Captain Ni didn't say anything. Anyway, once he knew about Ronghua Pavilion, finding the Song family would be very easy. Song Xiaoqiu found it strange. "Mother, what do you think Captain Ni is planning to do? Did you specially invite us to have a bowl of tofu pudding?" Lu Mingui gestured for her to stay calm. "Never mind, if he doesn't mention it, we'll just pretend we don't know anything. If it's brought up, then we'll talk about it later." Then I took my family and we continued shopping. After the Song family left, Ni Nionzi asked, "Why were you so concerned about that family? She's just a cosmetics shop owner, is she worth you trying to please?" Captain Ni glared at her. "What do you know?" Just then, the shrimp cake vendor next door brought over a few shrimp cakes and said, "These were given to us by that old lady earlier, she already paid for them." Captain Ni smiled wryly. "They're really airtight. I haven't even said anything yet." The Song family burned incense and then ate and drank all the way out. As we approached the end of the temple fair, the number of stalls and people dwindled. Man's hands were already full of food, with a red fruit in one hand and an oil paper package in the other, containing chicken legs that she hadn't had time to eat yet. Zhang Yuanzhou was also carrying quite a few things in his hands. Shen Juya frowned. Man, don't you want to eat dinner tonight? Be careful not to eat a bunch of random things, or you'll have a stomachache tonight. Zhang Yuanzhou laughed and said, Sister-in-law, please don't scold her. It's rare for her to have such a good meal. Song Xiaoqiu chimed in, yes, there are so many new foods at the temple fair. I'm drooling just looking at them, let alone Man who's still so small. Don't worry, it won't make you sick. The two were indeed of the same mind. Shen Juya could only say, I can't argue with you. Anyway, your future children will definitely be spoiled rotten. Upon hearing this, Song Xiaoqiu blushed. Zhang Yuanzhou said, what's the big deal? Girls should be pampered. Man quickly swallowed the food in her mouth and said, no, girls can also draw bows and shoot arrows and fight on the battlefield. She still remembered General Qin's words. Everyone laughed. Lu Mingui smiled, but suddenly noticed a little girl, about 5 or 6 years old, looking at Man with envy in the corner. The little girl has bright, sparkling eyes, though she's young, you can tell she'll be a stunning beauty in the future. Despite the cold weather, she was dressed in thin clothes, her hands were red from the cold, and her shoes were badly worn out. Lu Mingui felt that the girl looked familiar, and couldn't help but feel sorry for her. She took out a bag of osmanthus cakes that she had just bought and handed it to her. Are you hungry? Here's some food, take it. The little girl didn't reach out to take it, instead, she blinked her big eyes, shook her head, and said, no, I'm not hungry. Man had already twisted her body and broken free from Zhang Yuanzhou's embrace, running towards the little girl. She said with delight, you are so beautiful. He handed over the oil paper package again, here's a chicken leg for you, it's delicious. Perhaps the little girl was less wary of people her own age, or perhaps she was genuinely hungry, she reached out and took the oil paper package. She swallowed hard before whispering, thank you. He then began to wolf down his food. Song Xiaoqiu felt a pang of heartache seeing this and whispered, Mother, this child looks so pitiful. Look at her shoes, they're all worn out. She's probably not even as well off as she was back in our hometown. I just saw a clothing and shoe store over there, why don't I go and buy her a pair of shoes? Lu Mingui nodded. That's what I think too. Go ahead, let the Zhang family boy accompany you. With so many people, we can't afford any mishaps. Yes, I know. By the time the two left, the little girl had eaten most of the chicken leg in her hand, she was clearly starving. Chapter 292 Storytelling. Lu Mingui gave her the osmanthus cake again. You must be starving, have some more. The little girl accepted it this time and timidly said, thank you, Grandma. After she took a bite of the osmanthus cake, Lu Mingui asked, why are you here alone? Where are your family? Then they asked, what's your name? How old are you? The girl replied, my name is Xing Yuan. I am 6 years old. My parents died, and I am now being raised by my aunt's family. She was about to say something when a woman nearby shouted, Yuan, where have you been? The fire in the stove has all gone out. Why aren't you back here right now? Xing Yuan turned pale with fright and ran away without daring to linger. Lu Mingui quickened her pace but couldn't catch up, watching her figure disappear into the alley. Full of confusion, she asked, Grandma, what's wrong with her? Why is she running so fast? Who's calling her? Why is it so fierce? Is her name Yuan? She has the same name as her younger sister. Lu Mingui patted her head and sighed, every family has its own troubles. When Song Xiaoqiu returned, she brought a pair of shoes and a coat. Upon hearing that the girl had run away, she felt a pang of regret. How could her family treat such a well-behaved child like this? It's still the first day of the Lunar New Year, and it's so cold, yet they won't even give her a decent pair of shoes. The whole family was feeling down. The family had lived a hard life before, and now that they are well fed and clothed, they can't bear to see their little one suffer like this. Zhang Yuanzhou advised, I'll go take a look around there when I have time. If I can help out, I will. Don't worry about it, don't worry. Seeing that everyone was still sullen, especially Man, he said, I just saw a storyteller talking about General Qin Liangyu leading the White Spear Army north to resist the later Jin. Should we go and give it a listen? Man, didn't you want to hear the general's story? The Song family members were indeed interested and went over together. The tea house where the storyteller was performing was already packed with people, and many more, like the Song family, were standing on the outside watching, as there were no seats available. The storyteller held a paper fan in one hand and spoke in a passionate tone. Then a surprise force suddenly appeared, each of them holding a long white shafted spear with a hook at the tip and an iron ring at the end. And who is the commander? It is none other than General Qin Liangyu. And there I saw. The crowd gasped in amazement, completely absorbed in the storyteller's tale. It felt as if I had witnessed firsthand the incredibly dangerous scenes on the battlefield. Then it seemed as if General Qin's gaze was sharp, and he said, "Defend Shanhaiguan to the death. This is our central plains." At the same time, the northern lands are frozen. On the battlefield, smoke filled the air, the stench of blood mingled with the chill of the air, and a fierce, biting wind raged. Qin Liangyu walked into the makeshift military tent and looked at the wounded soldiers. The wounded soldiers either groaned in pain or looked numb, but they became excited when they saw General Qin enter. The crowd cried out, "General!" Qin Liangyu nodded, her gaze sweeping over the faces of the wounded soldiers, and said in a deep voice, "Take good care of your injuries. We have won this battle." Immediately, a soldier cheered, "We won! We won! We'll beat those treacherous dogs from the later Jin so badly they won't dare come back. The white spear soldiers are mighty." Cheers and applause came from all around the tent. Qin Liangyu did not stop it. This was precisely the time when morale was needed. She said, "Today is the first day of the Lunar New Year. After dark, we'll cook the dough and make dumplings. Let's have a proper New Year celebration." There was a moment of silence inside the tent, followed by the sound of swallowing. "Dumplings. We'll have dumplings soon. If we don't talk about dumplings, everyone will forget that today is the first day of the Lunar New Year." Someone asked incredulously, "General, is it true?" Some veterans rebuked, "How rude. When has our general ever gone back on his word?" Qin Liangyu wasn't annoyed, and laughed heartily, "Really? Of course it's true. Although there's not much meat, at least there's some oil." A guard behind Qin Liangyu reminded her, "General, you have already sold off your property, and now." She only said, "Take my personal savings and exchange them for some vegetables and meat. Go quickly." He then personally examined the wounded soldier's injuries. The military doctor was changing the bandages of the wounded soldier when he saw Qin Liangyu coming over and called out, "General." He added, "This person has injured his leg and will probably need to recuperate for a while." Qin Liangyu looked over and saw a soldier in his early 20s with pale lips, probably in pain. Fortunately, he was in good spirits and had his big eyes wide open. She comforted her, saying, "Take good care of yourself and recover well." Just as he was about to leave, a soldier suddenly grabbed his armor, a scene that alarmed the medic. Although the general is kind and approachable, the soldier is being extremely rude. Just as he was about to reprimand him, the soldier spoke up, "General, how did you get this peach pit?" Before Qin Liangyu could react, he eagerly asked, "Where did you get this bell carved from a peach pit?" As she asked the question, tears began to fall. Tears streamed down her face, but her lips trembled, and she couldn't make a sound. Qin Liangyu realized what was happening and took the bell from the hilt of her sword. "You mean this? It was a gift from a little girl to me." The army doctor couldn't stand it anymore and scolded, "Song Dehe, why are you crying? Get to the point." Song Dehe finally burst into tears. "These are my daughter's things I gave to my daughter." Qin Liangyu's heart skipped a beat. "Is her name Man? Yes, yes. Has the general seen my daughter?" Despite his leg injury, Song Dehe got up, his face full of hope. Qin Liangyu nodded and recounted her encounter with the Song family on the road. Hearing this, Song Dehe both cried and laughed. "Yes, that person is my mother. And my younger brother. Xiao Chu went too. Where's my eldest brother? Where is he? Why isn't he protecting mother and my younger siblings? They are from Suzhou Prefecture. Why are they going to Suzhou Prefecture?" Qin Liangyu had no idea about these things. She handed the peach pit bell to Song Dehe and said, "Return it to its rightful owner. Take good care of your injuries. I'll give you leave to go back and visit your family later." Song Dehe hurriedly knelt down again. "General, I almost died in battle back then, but the white spear soldiers saved me. I will not go home until I drive away the Jin traitors." Qin Liangyu laughed and said, "It's not too late to go back to visit my family and then come back to drive away and defeat the Jurchen traitors. But you must make sure your injury heals properly, it's not good to develop a chronic condition." "All right, let's wait for the dumplings." Chapter 293 New Year. That day, the Song family didn't return home to Yinshan Street until sunset. Grandma Huang ate the fried fish with great satisfaction. Yes, that's the taste. I bought too much, so it won't be crisp tomorrow. I can only make soup with some chives. The soup will be very delicious. She added. Tu Antoine and Yuan Yuan are very well behaved, they don't cry or make a fuss. I just figured I was getting hungry. Shen Juya had fed the child once before leaving the house, and now she quickly picked up the child and went to pick him up. In the evening, the whole family was too full to eat and exhausted, so they all went to sleep. The next day was for visiting relatives and exchanging New Year's greetings. The Song and Lu families had just moved here and didn't have many relatives or friends in Suzhou Prefecture. Although they don't have many relatives, they haven't been idle. On the second day of the Lunar New Year, Lu Mingui took her family back to her parents' home. On the third day of the Lu family, they came to the Song family again with large and small bags. They spend their days eating and drinking, living a leisurely and carefree life. When they had nothing to do, the family would either play dice to see who could become an official, or they would make rouge in the backyard. On the fourth day of the Lunar New Year, Madame Zhang brought gifts and her children to visit, which surprised Lu Mingui. However, she still treated them well and prepared red envelopes for them. On the fifth day of the Lunar New Year, we welcome the God of Wealth. On the sixth day of the Lunar New Year, Captain Ni actually brought his wife to pay a New Year's visit, which surprised Lu Mingui even more than when Madame Zhang came to visit. We bumped into each other at the temple fair that day, exchanged a few polite words. How did they actually come to our door? Despite her surprise, Lu Mingui still prepared food and wine to entertain them. Since there were no able-bodied men in the family, they invited the scholar Wen from next door, along with his elder brother Lu Wenli, to accompany them. Although neither of them were particularly good at socializing, they managed to keep the conversation from getting awkward. After a few rounds of drinks, everyone was a little drunk. Captain Ni slurred, "It's really fate, isn't it? There are so many boats on the Grand Canal, how come we were the ones who met? The temple fair is packed with people again this year. Hey, I spotted you all right away in the crowd." He then said to Lu Mingui, "Sister-in-law Lu, I'm shamelessly calling you sister-in-law. Guess how much I made selling that glass bowl last time?" Lu Mingui thought to himself, he really is drunk. He's even bringing up this kind of thing. She didn't respond, just waited for the other person to speak. Unexpectedly, Captain Ni wasn't that drunk. He chuckled for a while but didn't say anything. He then said, "These kinds of glass objects are still quite rare now, but that may not be the case in the future. Sister-in-law Lu, didn't you say last time that you still had a few items at home? Would you be willing to lend a hand?" Lu Mingui readily agreed. "Of course I'm willing. I have no use for it, I was going to exchange it for money anyway." He added, "You're drunk today. Come another day, and I'll give you the rest of the items." Captain Ni was overjoyed, feeling as if he had sobered up a bit. On the 10th day of the month, the day the business opened, he indeed brought his wife to visit again. While Ni Niangzi was selecting rouge and face powder, Lu Mingui was receiving guests in the main hall. Captain Ni got straight to the point. "Sister-in-law Lu, I've come for the glass bowl." Lu Mingui nodded. "It was prepared a long time ago. I have a few left here, what do you think?" The small glasses were given away as gifts when the rouge shop opened, and there are still a few salad bowls left. Ship owner Ni clicked his tongue in admiration. These large glass bowls are even slightly better than the smaller ones, they should fetch a good price. I wonder how much Sister Lu is planning to sell it for. Lu Mingui replied, "This is not for sale." These words made Captain Ni pause in the glass bowl he was holding, and he asked in disbelief, "Sister-in-law Lu, what do you mean by that? Didn't we agree to buy glass bowls today? Is this a change of heart? Is it because you're afraid you don't have enough money? But the price hasn't been negotiated yet." Captain Ni said somewhat anxiously, "Name your price. How can we talk business without discussing it? This glass bowl is very important to him, he can't just give it up like this." Lu Mingui shook her head. "I really won't sell." Captain Ni stared at Lu Mingui for a moment and found that her eyes were clear and she was not joking. He immediately deflated, sat down in the chair, hunched over, and didn't know what to say. Seeing his expression change and his lips move, but he didn't say anything that would force her to do something against her will, Lu Mingui felt a little relieved. After all, having come this far, I know this Captain Ni fairly well, at the very least, he's a conscientious and responsible person. In the end, Captain Ni put down the glass bowl with a wry smile. Sister-in-law Lu, since you are unwilling to sell, I will not force you. Let's just say I'm not meant to have this glass bowl. Lu Mingui then joked, you brought New Year's gifts, but I didn't sell you a glass bowl. I feel guilty accepting this New Year's gift, you should take it with you. Captain Ni became anxious. Sister-in-law Lu, are you trying to humiliate me? No matter what I am, I would never do such a thing. Even if a deal falls through, goodwill remains. My family has no relatives in Suzhou Prefecture. My first wife died early, and my second wife is young. If anything happens in the future, I will need your family's help. Lu Mingui was just joking with him, and when he heard that he wanted her to help, even though he felt that his family didn't have much ability, he could still help with small favors. She agreed, then asked, although the glass bowl is worth some silver, you don't seem like someone who's short of money. Why are you in such a hurry for this glass bowl? Then Captain Ni said, alas, you are unaware of this. Now that the canal is shallow, the water officials are squeezing this business dry. I had already pulled some strings, but then a new doctor named Zhao was sent down from the Shandong section of the river. This guy really knows how to skim off a passing goose's feathers. He kept talking about the drought, the need to worship the Dragon King, and the need to pay the gatekeepers. In short, he was just dragging his feet and trying to collect tolls. These people are well read, but they also have many tricks up their sleeves. Even after we gave them real gold and silver, they still preferred calligraphy, paintings, antiques, and this glass cup. Tell me, what should I do? A ship full of goods has been waiting for half a month and it still hasn't arrived. If the delivery date is missed, we'll be stuck with it all. Captain Ni said with a wry smile, speaking of which, I'm not the worst off. There are others who waited for a whole month. This man surnamed Zhao is far too greedy, he won't even give away the slightest bit of convenience that slips through his fingers. They're determined to suck our blood. I think this river transport business is coming to an end. Lu Mingui listened with a sigh. He had already seen a lot during his escape from famine, but he never expected it to be even more severe now. She thought for a moment and said, actually, it's better not to do this river transport business. With increasing drought in the future, river transport will eventually have to stop. Captain Ni didn't believe it. No way, such a deep canal is still dry. Lu Mingui said seriously, why not? Why do you think I fled to Suzhou Prefecture so early? It's because my skill in divination, and the weather will only get drier and drier. It's still a long way from the end. Captain Ni's heart skipped a beat at her words. Sister-in-law Lu, is this really true? Lu Mingui nodded. Otherwise, who would be willing to leave their hometown? Shipowner Ni was already 70% convinced, but then lamented, so, does that mean we're not going to do business on this river anymore? It took a lot of effort to smooth things over along the way. It cost a lot of manpower and resources. But if he doesn't do this business, how will his family live in the future? Chapter 294 Real Money. Seeing him deep in thought, Lu Mingui said, actually, how could such a greedy river official surnamed Zhao be moved by a glass bowl? You said he's like a bloodsucker, determined to drain a person dry. If they give it away this time, they'll definitely do it again. If it's like this every time, how can we do business? How could Captain Ni not know? That's why I've stayed here for so long, because I have no other way out. Lu Mingui offered him advice, continuing, if you still want to do shipping business, why not switch to ocean shipping and only do business in the south for now? Shipowner Ni murmured, sea transport. Heading south, but the shipping business is tough. Seeing his hesitation, Lu Mingui said, the shipping business is indeed difficult, but the profits are substantial. Railway transport is currently in disarray. When drought strikes and the waterways become impassable, competition will certainly intensify. If we switch to sea freight now, we will at least gain an advantage. Captain Ni slowly realized that this made sense. Rather than waiting for the river to dry up completely and become chaotic, it would be better to abandon river transport and switch to sea transport. Unexpectedly, this seemingly simple-looking Mrs. Lu had extraordinary insight and was able to say such things. He nodded. Sister-in-law Lu, you're right. It's time to consider sea freight. My family's ship is usable. He added, if we go by inland waterway, we also need to travel overland for a while, change boats, unload and load cargo, which will take at least a month. It would be different if we went by sea. From Suzhou Prefecture to Yugang, if you send someone from Suzhou Prefecture to Lujiagong at the mouth of the Yangtze River, it will take about half a month to reach Yugang. Lu Mingui nodded. It can save half the time. And there are fewer places to bribe. After thinking for a moment, Captain Ni stood up and cupped his hands in thanks to Lu Mingui. Thank you, sister-in-law Lu. This is truly enlightening. Let's go back and make some plans today. We'll have to decide what goods to ship later. In the past, I mainly transported leather goods, which were not necessarily favored when they arrived at Yugang. Lu Mingui said, Yugang has lifted the sea ban. They were all Francois, foreigners, and merchants from Yukyu and Siam. It is said that silk, porcelain, antique can all fetch good prices. Now, Captain Ni couldn't help but scrutinize the woman in front of him. How did she even know these things? Is she really just an ordinary village woman? His surprised look was so obvious that Lu Mingui quickly said, my husband saw these things before and told me about them. He also said that if these were sold, they would be exchanged for pure silver coins, guaranteeing that there would be no loss. I told you to be careful of those people, they look all smiles, but they're actually quite cunning. The story was so convincing that Captain Ni believed it and couldn't help but sigh. It's a pity that Brother Song passed away too early. Otherwise, if he had joined forces with me, my brother and I would definitely have made a name for ourselves. Lu Mingui feigned concern and sighed, my husband has never been interested in these things. Later, I returned to my hometown, became a hunter, and lived happily with my family. It's such a pity that he died young. He left us, a widow and her children, behind. The ship owner, thinking he had touched on a sore spot, quickly said, Sister-in-law Lu, thank you for your advice. If you need anything in the future, please feel free to ask. If you can't find me, you can also look for me at Longcheng Trading Company. Lu Mingui was certainly not trying to be a great philanthropist. After saying all that, he clearly had something to ask of her. She said, no need to wait until later, I need to trouble you with something right now. I have a lot of silk on hand, and I was thinking of having you transport it to Yugang and help me sell it. I won't take advantage of you, everything will be done according to the rules. Captain Ni asked suspiciously, you also have silk? Isn't it said that even raw silk requires a deposit 6 months in advance? How long has the Song family been here? Lu Mingui said, in short, I have connections. This silk fabric will not only be available now, but it will always be available in the future. As he spoke, he took out a small piece of blue silk from his purse. Sunlight streamed in from outside, making the small piece of cloth shimmer. The blue was pure, without any other colors, as if it were its natural color. Look at this, what do you think? Captain Ni naturally understood these things. He touched it and was immediately surprised. This material was even softer than the finest silk. Its luster is comparable to that of pearls. He hesitated before asking, this kind of material would be snapped up everywhere. But why sell it to the Franks and the red-haired barbarians? Lu Mingui had thought about this problem long ago, and it wasn't just her who thought about it, Lu Yunxi thought about it along with her. Selling to foreign merchants, of course, is about getting their silver. She didn't hide anything and said directly, only by selling to them can we get real money. The words, real money, made Captain Ni even more tempted, but fortunately he remained rational. Lu Mingui glanced at his expression, satisfied, and continued, I have many more pieces of material like this on hand. Right now, I just want to find a reliable person to do this. Although sea transport is risky, with storms and other dangers along the way, you'll have to bear the consequences. But this path to wealth is long-term, and it belongs only to your family. Captain Ni, will you take this job or not? Ship owner Ni stared at Lu Mingui. This material was no ordinary item, and the enormous wealth behind it made his heart pound. After hesitating for a moment, he nodded in agreement. Sister-in-law Lu, you don't need to tell me where you came from, and I won't ask. Give me the goods, and I'll sell them for you. If anything goes wrong, I'll take full responsibility. Lu Mingui smiled and said, no need to rush, take your time to plan. I'll deliver it to you once it's ready. But sea transport is not the same as river transport, so we need to find out about all aspects. Captain Ni agreed, and unable to sit still any longer, he took his leave. Lu Mingui turned around and went to the White House, then to Guanlin residence, and called Lu Yunxi. I've found a reliable person here, and I'm just waiting for your fabric. Lu Yunxi had already prepared, so she naturally agreed. Don't worry, ancestor, as long as you get things sorted out on your end, I can supply you with goods anytime. With both sides reaching an agreement, Lu Mingui finally felt relieved. I went to take another look at the shop in front, it opened today and business was booming. She helped with the reception and was busy until late afternoon. With more free time in the afternoon, Lu Mingui went up the mountain. Chapter 295 Chili Seedlings. A faint green hue peeks through the mountains. Lu Mingui's heart stirred slightly, and he ran over in a few steps, only to see many tender shoots emerging from the soil. Here it is. The shepherd's purse has sprouted. Tiny green shoots sprouted from the soil, small yet full of vitality. Not only shepherd's purse, but also the noodle-like greens planted at the same time have sprouted. This is really great. It went even more smoothly than she expected. The other mountain areas have all been prepared and should be planted with vegetables, they can't just sit there empty. At this time of year, you can plant spinach, radishes, leafy greens, or even beans. Lu Mingui then thought of that seed shop. Having already bought shepherd's purse seeds, she knew at least that the seeds sold there were of very good quality and had a high germination rate. Then let's go again and buy some other vegetable seeds. We must at least plant this entire hillside. As for food, we won't plant any since we have enough at home. She looked around and saw that she was all alone on the hilltop, so she didn't waste any time and went straight to the vegetable market. From there, she strolled leisurely towards the seed shop. The road was still busy with cars coming and going. But once you understand the rules, you realize there's nothing to be afraid of. When we arrived at the pedestrian street, we found that several new small shops selling chicken cakes had opened on both sides of the road, squeezing out the original shop to the point that it had almost no business. Lu Mingui did go back to the same place. She's set her sights on this restaurant because it's delicious, and she's willing to wait in line for a while. But this time there's no need to queue, there's no one at the store entrance at all. It turns out that because there are more cake shops now, and the newly opened ones are having promotions, customers are going to other shops instead. The shop owner looked worried, but when he saw a customer come in, he quickly perked up and greeted him. "Hello, old-fashioned chicken cake, made without a drop of water, only $10.90, buy 1 pound and get half a pound free." Lu Mingui couldn't help but ask, "Giving away so much, even more than what we gave away at the last opening? Sigh, isn't it all because of those few stores?" The shop owner sighed, "I don't know what's wrong with this place. If one shop does well, several more will open up. Why are they rolling me up like this? Did they think that if they roll me to death, how long can they live themselves? This is a business idea I came up with myself, and I've even improved upon it." Unfortunately, it was useless. It lacked technical content and was quickly learned by others. He then pointed behind him. "At the busiest time, I had 5 or 6 people making cakes in my shop, but now there are only 3 left. He's probably not going to make it. I invested more than 200,000 yuan. Fortunately, business was good at the beginning, so I didn't lose everything." Lu Mingui felt sorry for him, saying, "Oh dear, this is truly a tragedy. 200,000 is no small sum." He then encouraged them, saying, "I think your little cakes taste really good." This made the shop owner very happy, and he quickly said, "Then you should try my new product this time." She discovered that in addition to the old-fashioned chicken cake, the shop also had red date cake and candied fruit cake. Red date cake is simply sponge cake with chopped red dates added, giving it a sweet and fragrant flavor. Pull-apart cake has pork floss added inside, and when you break it open, it looks like it's being pulled apart in strands. It has a savory sweet taste. Lu Mingui tasted them all and found them quite delicious. She still selected a lot of each kind and started serving small cakes to guests lately, as they were both tasty and convenient. She paid and couldn't help but look inside the store. The original staff, who were crammed together, were reduced by half. One person was beating eggs, another was mixing batter, and yet another was taking out the baked cakes. Inside were rows of iron frames, on which were neatly arranged iron molds. The oven was lit by a yellow light. When the light went out, someone opened the oven door, and the aroma and heat wafted out together. Lu Mingui was engrossed in watching, but unfortunately, even if she were given such an oven, she wouldn't be able to use it, as it was electric. The shop owner then asked, "Auntie, is there anything else you'd like?" Lu Mingui shook her head. "I'm afraid you won't be able to keep going. I don't know where to buy small cakes." One sentence moved the boss deeply. "Don't worry, I will definitely persevere to the end. Those people's cakes are all imitations of mine, they don't taste any as good as mine at all." Lu Mingui thought for a moment and asked, "What if I buy more cakes from you and sell them somewhere else?" "What do you think?" The boss shook his head. "That probably won't work. It's not that I'm unwilling to sell, but the small cakes taste best when they're hot. If it gets cold, it will inevitably have a fishy smell from the eggs." Lu Mingui wasn't worried about the small cakes getting cold, since the White House could keep them fresh, but she didn't say much, as she hadn't decided yet. After saying goodbye to the cake shop owner, I walked on and saw that the silk shop I had visited before was now closed. The place was completely empty, it seemed to have closed down. However, given how those people conduct business, it's not surprising that they're closing down. Lu Mingui didn't take it to heart, and after leaving the pedestrian street, she went to the seed shop. She asked the shop owner, "What seeds do you sell? I'd like to grow some vegetables at home." The shop owner still remembers her. He was impressed by how many wild vegetable seeds she bought. He asked, "Have you managed to grow your shepherd's purse? Is the germination rate good? Wait a few days and then replant it, that would be even better." Lu Mingui nodded. "They are good seeds, so I came again. This time I want to buy vegetable seeds, just ordinary spinach, bok choy, radish, anything will do." The shopkeeper gave her a few packets of seeds and pointed to a few chili seedlings in the corner, asking, "Do you want some chili seedlings?" Lu Mingui immediately thought of the taste of chili peppers. They were delicious stir-fried with meat and also delicious stir-fried with eggs. It has a unique flavor compared to the dogwood used at home. She really wanted to plant them, but no one around her was doing it. Would planting so many without proper planning cause any trouble? Wait a minute, let me ask you something. She walked out of the store and made a phone call. The shop owner was puzzled. Why did he have to make a phone call to buy just a few chili seedlings? Couldn't he make the decision himself? Outside, Lu Mingui called Lu Yunxi. "Do you think it will cause any problems if I buy chili seedlings to plant?" No one understood her predicament or her worries better than Lu Yunxi. Lu Yunxi smiled and said, "I think it's fine." She further explained, "Chili peppers were introduced to my country during the Wanli period of the Ming Dynasty, initially in the Zhejiang and Guangdong areas. It was initially grown as an ornamental plant and was called chili pepper, or flavor pepper. Later, Guizhou, Western Hunan, Sichuan and Northern Yunnan were the first to start eating chili peppers. So people in coastal areas are already growing chili peppers. You can start planting chili peppers now, which would be a good opportunity to promote them. Oh right, and tomatoes, which have a similar history to chili peppers, and we also have some at night. Small-scale planting is also possible." Lu Mingui said, "I'm just worried that something might go wrong." Lu Yunxi pondered for a moment, then said, "Let's not plant tomatoes for now, planting peppers is no problem. It will not affect history. Besides, if one day it really does influence history, then it's fate." Chapter 296 Buying People. In the end, Lu Mingui bought all the chili seedlings. The hillside was soon covered with all kinds of wild vegetables and greens. Since it's not a good place to grow vegetables on the north slope, I plan to buy a few pigs first, and then separate a space to raise chickens and ducks. As a result, the family is becoming increasingly short-handed. Xiao Chu and the others have to look after the rouge shop, Yang Kong has to farm, and Yang Yan is someone else's shopkeeper. Besides studying, Song Xiaodong was always on the move, doing odd jobs wherever she was needed. Seeing this, Lu Mingui became anxious and gathered her family to discuss the matter. Everyone gathered in the main room of the Song family's house. Lu Mingui first praised Granny Huang and Meng He, saying, "The rouge shop is doing very well these days. Thanks to you guys." Meng He smiled and said, "Little aunt, it's all thanks to Aunt Huang's extensive knowledge and excellent teaching." Huang Ying was delighted by the praise and said, "You are all clever, otherwise, how could I have taught you? If I were given a few blockheads, who would I teach?" Lu Mingui waited until they finished speaking before continuing. "Also, the bookstore next door was handed over to me by Scholar Wen. It's been empty since before the Lunar New Year, it's such a pity. This can't go on, so I thought I'd open a restaurant to sell food and drinks. Xiao Chu is a good cook, she'll come over and help me out." Song Xiaoqiu hurriedly asked, "Mother, then I don't need to worry about Ronghua Pavilion anymore?" Lu Mingui then asked her, "Would you rather work at the rouge shop or make food?" "I'll do whatever you want." Song Xiaoqiu loves cooking, and she said, "I'm going to open a restaurant with my mother. Making food is still more interesting." Lu Mingui nodded. The two people at the restaurant are already too busy, and they said they're short-staffed. He continued, "Also, there's a shortage of people on the mountain. I have dozens of acres of mountain land to cultivate, but not much can be grown on the north slope, so I thought I would raise some chickens and ducks, and a few pigs. When we raise pigs, someone will have to watch them at night, otherwise I won't feel at ease." There are more and more things to do at home these days. Our family only has a few hands, even if we work day and night, we still can't finish the job. It's really not worth it if you get sick from overwork. Do you have any good ideas? Lu Yongyan, being knowledgeable, replied when Lu Mingui asked, then hire a few helpers and buy some servants. Upon hearing that they wanted to buy people, Lu Wenli hurriedly said, buy people. Why does that sound so strange? He always felt that the people he bought were not treated like human beings, which always made him feel uncomfortable. Lu Yongyan saw through his thoughts and quickly said, Father, don't think that buying people is a bad thing. Those families were also struggling to make ends meet, so they had no other choice. It's not that we're forcing her to sell herself. Besides, my aunt's family doesn't have the kind of people who would torment others. Even if we buy it in, we'll still have to rely on our own abilities to make a living. Life is better than outside. She then said to Lu Mingui, Auntie, actually, we should have bought someone a long time ago. We can hire a servant to run errands, deliver messages, sweep, and carry things, he's very clever. Or buy a little maid to help with household chores. But Lu Mingui also had some concerns. We've been toiling in the fields all our lives. Now that life is a little better, I still feel uneasy about this. Lu Yongyan advised, Aunt, you can't think like that. It's not that buying people means buying them to abuse them. If they are good people, we will treat them well in return. Lu Mingui knew he was right, so she said, then let's find human traffickers and specifically look for those whose families can't make ends meet and who are voluntarily looking for a way to survive. We'll pay the full price, but we'll make it clear to them and draw up a contract, whether it's for 5 or 10 years. When the time comes, they can leave or stay as they please. Once this person enters the door, he's one of our family. As long as you work hard, you won't be stingy with your clothes and food, and you'll even get some money during holidays. Let's do the work together, and don't push everything onto others. Everyone nodded. Lu Wenli added, yes, our family's life has become a bit better, but our fundamental nature cannot change. We're not some kind of lords or ladies, just an ordinary family living a simple life. And so the matter was settled. Then Lu Mingui led Lu Yongyan and the others to a brokerage firm. A broker immediately came forward, his voice booming, oh, please come in, gentlemen. You all look very familiar. Where have we met before? Lu Yongyan laughed and said, Brother Guo, don't you remember me? I even bought a house from you back then. Guo Da immediately remembered. Oh, it's Master Lu, long time no see. And this is my aunt. The house was bought for her. Guo Da nodded hurriedly, becoming even more respectful to Lu Mingui, so you are the owner of Ronghua Pavilion. Another round of flattery followed. Your rouge shop is doing really well, it's now one of the top shops in Chongzhou County. Who wouldn't know about Ronghua Pavilion in Chongzhou County? Lu Mingui quickly said modestly, I don't deserve such praise, I'm just trying to make a living. Guo Da finally got to the point. You've come today to see fields, houses, livestock, or to hire people. Lu Mingui said, we're really too busy at home, so let's find a few clever people to go back and help. Do you know of any suitable ones? Guo Da led them into the courtyard. There are a few here, take a look and see if you're satisfied. When they arrived at the backyard, they saw 4 or 5 children, all dressed in thin, worn clothes, sitting against the wall. They were all about 10 years old and just sat there silently. We all come from respectable backgrounds. Our families suffered a disaster, and our parents had no choice but to send us here. He is of good character and appearance, quick and efficient, and can do both housework and household chores. The girl will cost 5 taels of silver, and the boy will cost 3 taels and 5 mace of silver. If you are satisfied, the identity documents can be issued today. Lu Mingui went over and looked at them one by one. Apart from being thin, they were fine. Being thin is normal. If you're not getting enough to eat, you'll naturally be thin, right? She walked over and asked, what are your names, and where are you from? The children were timid, and Guo Da urged them, I'm asking you questions, don't be afraid, just say what you want to say. Finally, the older girl answered first. My name is Daya, and I'm 13 years old. Originally from Sichuan County, I came here with my family to escape famine. My parents died of illness, so my older brother sold me, otherwise, they would have starved to death. He speaks very clearly and is also quick-witted. Lu Mingui then asked, what can you do? Daya said, I could cook when I was 6 years old, and I can also sew. Chapter 297 Price Reduction. After Daya started, the other children introduced themselves one by one. My name is Xiaoyun, I am 12 years old, and I am also from Jinan Prefecture. My parents said they couldn't support me, so they sold me. My name is Tai Niu, I'm 13 years old, and I'm from the same hometown as Xiaoyun. My name is Chun Sheng. All 5 children spoke clearly, and they all seemed to be good children. After hearing their stories, Lu Mingui felt a pang of pity. These children were truly pitiful. Since she was lucky enough to have the White House, at least it could keep these children from starving. However, we can't just buy the person back like that, we still need to negotiate the price. She said to Guo Da, it's a pity they're all a bit too young. As you know, my family comes from humble backgrounds, we're not some kind of lords and mistresses who need to be waited on. I just want to find a few people who can do the work, whether it's field work or mountain work. Guo Da thought to himself, is this an attempt to lower the price? Or did they really not want it? Although the old lady looked honest and simple, it was really hard to see through her thoughts. He smiled ingratiatingly. Madam, working in the fields is one thing, but someone needs to help out at home too, right? These kids have all been trained, they're tight-lipped and hardworking. Buying them is definitely worth it. You choose the person you like, and I'll give you a discount. Lu Mingui's expression remained hesitant, as if she were in a difficult position. After a long while, she finally said, they're so small, what can we do with them if we take them back? They're not as efficient as my own kids at doing chores. How about this, I want Daya and Tianyu, how much cheaper can you offer? Guo Da was immediately delighted. Oh my, the old lady has such good taste. Daya is diligent, and Tai Niu is strong. These 2 children are the best in this batch. Daya is 5 taels of silver, and Tai Niu is 3 taels and 50 cents. It's not expensive at all. If you really want it, let's not haggle. I'll just give you 8 taels of silver, how about that? Lu Mingui said, these 2 are the best. Then I'll still choose Xiaoyun and Chunsheng. Can you make it any cheaper? Oh dear, Guo Da cried out again, Madam, do you still want to take the bad ones back with you? Lu Mingui nodded. Whether it's good or bad, there's no definitive answer. As long as it suits my taste, that's fine. I think these 2 kids are good. Guo Da said helplessly, all right, if you want Xiaoyun and Chunsheng, I'll charge you 7 taels and 5 mace of silver. Lu Mingui calculated that the 4 children would save him 1 tael of silver, which was already quite good. She added, well, these children are all from the same hometown, and I can't bear to separate them. I want all 4 of these children. Guo Da suddenly realized that the old lady wanted both of them, so she was trying to lower the price. Is this how you try to lower prices? Indeed, old ginger is spicier, this old lady cannot be treated like an ordinary country bumpkin. However, he couldn't go back on his word. Fortunately, the price he paid for the children was low, less than 2 taels of silver each. After deducting the cost of food and lodging for the next few days, he wasn't losing money. His face was still beaming with smiles. All right, you can take all 4 with you. Pointing to the last child, she said, you don't want this one. Why don't you take it with you? This old lady has already bought 4, so we can't give her a discount on the last one. Unexpectedly, Lu Mingui waved her hands repeatedly, saying, my family is just a small household, how could we possibly need so much? To be honest with you, I think all 4 of these are too many. Besides, this one is said to be 11 years old, but he looks less than 10. He's as skinny as a bean sprout. It will be difficult to even raise him when we get back. If I want him to be able to work, I'll have to keep him for 2 or 3 years, and I don't want that. Guo was dumbfounded. He had just said that he felt sorry for the 4 children because they were from the same village and that he should buy them to keep them company. Wasn't this last one also from the same village? Are you just going to throw it away like that? Is it true or not? Or are you just trying to trick him again? But it doesn't look like it. Moreover, as this elderly Mrs. Lu said, the youngest child is called Little Stone, but he is actually only 9 years old. He looked really out of line, so they told him to tell the outsiders that he was already 11 years old. When Little Stone heard that no one wanted him and that he would have to part ways with his fellow villagers, he burst into tears. The other children sympathized with Little Stone, but they didn't know the old lady's temper, so they didn't dare to offer any advice, their eyes glistening with tears. Although Lu Mingui felt sorry for him, she had her own plans. She lowered her eyes and urged, no, go sign the identity documents. Guo Da got anxious first, because this last one was the hardest to sell. He said, "Madam, you see how pitiful this child is, why don't you take him in as well? I'll give you 2 taels of silver. This really doesn't make any money, it's the price we paid for it from his parents. Look at this child's big hands and feet, he'll grow up to be tall and strong, and he'll be able to do any kind of work. You won't be at a disadvantage." Lu Mingui breathed a sigh of relief, pretended to check on Xiao Shido, and reluctantly agreed, "Never mind, it's just 1 more pair of chopsticks, take it with you." Everyone was satisfied with this deal. Although Guoda earned less, he sold 5 people at once, which was a big deal. Lu Mingui also found a few decent children. She led the group back without saying a word. The children, unsure of what the future held, followed anxiously behind the Lu family, hoping only to have enough to eat and for life to be a little easier. When they arrived home, they all looked around curiously. Although this family is not wealthy, they have a warm and welcoming atmosphere. Since there were businesses in front, we went in from the back. Lu Mingui pointed to her home and said, "This is our home. Don't panic, let's rest for a bit." Daya immediately bowed and said, "Yes, madam." Lu Mingui was taken aback at first, then burst into laughter. "You don't need to call me that, you can call me auntie or auntie. My family used to be farmers, and we still are. Just like you, we all come from humble backgrounds. Here, as long as we work hard, we're all one family." The children responded hesitantly, but didn't take it seriously. Guoda once said that when you go to your host's house, you have to be obedient, do more work, and eat less, otherwise you will often be scolded or beaten. They dared not act rashly. Old Mrs. Huang spoke first. "We need to let the children wash up first. Tuan Tuan and Yuan Yuan are still young, and we can't afford any mishaps. This is because I'm worried the children might have lice, so I need to wash them clean first." So Song Xiaoqiu went to boil water and took the children to take a bath first. Little Stone, being young and very lively, was looking around when Daya pressed his head down. "Don't look around, this is the host's house. Keep your head down," she whispered. "Actually, I was sold once before, to a landlord's family. I didn't know anything back then. I offended an old woman and was slapped more than a dozen times. I couldn't hear anything after that. They found my parents, sent me home, and took the money back. It took me 6 months to recover." The children were so frightened by what they heard that they trembled all over. When Song Xiaoqiu came in, she saw several children standing there trembling, which puzzled her. "You have underfloor heating at home, how come you're still so cold? Hurry up and take a shower. Girls, go first. Boys, wait a bit." Chapter 298 Rules. This was the first time Daya had ever taken such a comfortable hot bath. She even used scented soap. In the past, we couldn't even get enough to eat, so how could we dare to dream of such a thing? She and Xiaoyun rubbed each other's backs, and their bodies smelled wonderful after the bath. Xiaoyun said, "Sister Daya, am I dreaming? It feels so good to take a hot shower, and the room isn't cold. I used to be afraid to take a bath in winter. If I caught a cold, I could only tough it out. If I couldn't tough it out, then I could only wait to die. But now we can even take a bath in the dead of winter. Big Sister Daya, have I met a fairy?" Daya's face slowly darkened. "Xiaoyun, I feel like something's not right. Tell me, what kind of master treats his servants so well? Could this family have bought us to work in the sex trade?" Xiaoyun was stunned. She had heard about this kind of thing when her family sold her. But, she thought for a moment and comforted her, "Sister Daya, don't worry. We're both ugly, we won't be sent to those kinds of places." She said that the two of them were both of average appearance, with messy, straw-like hair and dark, grimy faces. How could they possibly be sold there? Daya was taken aback by what she said, then gave a wry smile. "I hope so. If it really meant going to a place like that, she'd rather die by banging her head against a wall." Daya imagined countless scenarios in her mind, and even thought of several ways to die, but nothing happened. Song Xiaoqiu was very satisfied with the clean and tidy appearance of the group. She said, "I look much more refreshed after taking a shower." As he spoke, he took out a cotton padded coat. "You can wear these, they're made from my old cotton padded coat. It might not fit perfectly, but I'll just wear it as is. I'll make you new clothes when I have some free time in a couple of days." She then told her mother, "Our house is too small to accommodate everyone. After we finish eating, let Tai Niu, Chun Sheng, and she too go and stay at uncle's house. Daya and Xiaoyun, squeeze in with me first." Who knew her mother would buy 5 children at once? It was truly unexpected. Lu Mingui nodded. Xiaodong, after you finish eating, take the 3 children to your uncle's house. Once we've settled in, we'll take him up the mountain to get familiar with it. They were also worried that Lu Wenli's family wouldn't have enough blankets, so they would have to bring 2 more blankets from home. Then she said to Dia and the others, you don't need to squeeze in with me anymore. I've already talked to the scholar's wife, and they have a place to stay too. It's all my fault for not thinking things through properly, there's still not enough room. You'll have to stay next door for a while, but Madam Wen is a kind person and won't make things difficult for you. Hearing this, Dia and Xiaoyun were terrified and quickly said, Auntie, please don't say that. We'll just stay somewhere, even if they have to sleep in a shack, it's fine. Lu Mingui waved her hand. Our family would never do such a thing. Just listen to me. In the evening, the number of people eating suddenly increased. With 5 more people, there wasn't enough room in the main room, so in addition to the 8 immortal table, a low table was moved in so that everyone could barely sit down. The new children were all very nervous and didn't dare to sit down. After the Song family members persuaded them for a long time, they finally dared to sit down. Once they saw the food, they couldn't take their eyes off it. Not only is there rice, but there's even meat to eat. Stone was the youngest and didn't know how to hide anything. His eyes were wide open as he stared at the flesh. The braised pork belly is glistening with oil and smells amazing. But he dared not touch his chopsticks. He had never eaten meat at home, and he dared not eat meat at other people's homes. Besides, how could they possibly have a chance to eat meat? Seeing that the children were timid and hesitant to pick up the meat, Lu Mingui offered it to them several times, but they still wouldn't touch it. So she simply put the meat directly into their bowls. Don't be shy, eat up. It's almost dark. After dinner, we still have to go to his uncle's house. Actually, there wasn't much meat this time, and they also added napa cabbage. She too then picked up the piece of braised pork, smelled it first, and then put it in his mouth in disbelief. Rich and dark sauce, it melts in your mouth, so fragrant that you dare not chew it, for fear that one bite will reveal that it is nothing but a dream. But it wasn't a dream after all. One bite and it was so delicious it made you dizzy. Seeing that he had eaten, Lu Mingui called to the other children, you all eat quickly, don't be shy. You can only work if you're well fed. Feeling uneasy, Dia suddenly put down her chopsticks, knelt down at Lu Mingui's feet, and said in a tearful voice, Auntie, please don't make me go to that kind of place. I can do any job, as long as it's done honestly and cleanly. Lu Mingui hadn't reacted yet, but Granny Huang understood. She laughed and pulled Dia up from the ground. Little girl, you really know how to overthink things. He then said to Lu Mingui, I told you, you're being too nice to them, which has actually scared them off. After hearing her explanation, Lu Mingui suddenly realized that's how it is. The little girl's thinking too much. She was both amused and exasperated. Hey, how come you're so good at making wild guesses? Xiaoyun added, Auntie, you don't know, Sister Dia was almost scared to death. I told her, we're so ugly, we won't be sold to that kind of place, but she didn't believe me. Hearing the little girl say that, Lu Mingui couldn't help but comfort them. Whether you're ugly or pretty, we would never sell you to that kind of place. Alright, I've made things clear to you all. Upon hearing this, the children put down their chopsticks and listened attentively. I have a lot of work to do at home. I have dozens of acres of land on the mountain and paddy fields at the foot of the mountain. When the busy farming season comes, not only you, but our whole family will have to go to the fields to work. There's not much to do at home, the house is mostly just for cleaning and tidying up. But in my spare time, I need to learn how to make rouge and food. As for Tai Niu and the others, they will have to stay on the mountain with Xiaodong. Raising pigs, chickens and ducks on the mountain will not be easy. Do you understand? The children nodded in unison. We understand. Lu Mingui added, our family doesn't have many rules, just 2 things. First, be diligent in your work. The second thing is, if anything happens at home, don't tell anyone outside. If you do these 2 things, you will not be short of food or clothing for all seasons on ordinary days, nor will you be short of rewards during festivals. When you grow up and this contract expires, whether you get married or find another way out, I will give you a sum of money. Chapter 299 Raising Chickens and Ducks. The children listened attentively and were immediately relieved. Dia was filled with shame. She had finally met a good customer, but she had still managed to misunderstand him. She immediately said, Auntie, I misunderstood before. Regardless of whether it's a death contract or a living contract, I will listen to you from now on. You want me to beat the dog, but I'll never chase the chicken. Listen to me, Lu Mingui said, then eat well, and get some rest early after you finish eating. I'll start helping out with the work tomorrow. That evening, Song Xiaodong took the boys to the Lu family's house to settle them down temporarily. Dia and Xiaoyun worked at the Song family's house during the day and stayed at Wen Shoukai's house at night. Because the Song family had never used servants, Lu Mingui felt sorry for these children, so the family treated them very leniently. Fortunately, the children were all well behaved and did not cause any trouble. But Granny Huang came from a wealthy family and had seen a lot. She said to Lu Mingui, as the saying goes, nothing can be accomplished without rules. Servants should act like servants. I know you are kind-hearted, but you must follow the rules. If you continue like this, be careful that one day you will become too powerful and bully your master. She had long regarded Lu Mingui as a sister and was worried that she would suffer losses in the future. Fearing that Lu Mingui wouldn't believe him, he recounted several instances of servants bullying their masters, hoping to warn Lu Mingui. It would be best to take advantage of the fact that the children have just been bought and brought home to discipline them properly, teach them what needs to be taught, and say what needs to be said. Lu Mingui was someone who listened to advice and immediately realized her oversight. This kind of negligence should not be underestimated. If it is left unchecked, we may not even know when something bad will happen. Old Huang then told her about the rules she knew before, such as respecting the Lord, being loyal and diligent, keeping to one's duty, being diligent, cautious, honest and frugal, and using things in moderation. After listening, Lu Mingui selected the ones that suited her family and made some revisions, thus creating a set of family rules. It details everything, big and small, including daily work hours, rest hours, 3 meals a day, monthly allowances, and holiday rewards. Of course, there are rewards and punishments. If someone associates with outsiders, leaks family matters, or steals, they should naturally be punished. After writing it down, he recounted the story in front of everyone. This isn't just something to say to the children who were bought, the whole family should remember it too. All the children listened. They're not afraid of being hardworking, they do even more work at home, yet they still don't have enough to eat or wear. As long as you work hard here, you'll get meat to eat. After that, they followed the rules and didn't make any mistakes. Lu Mingui then brought up the matter of the monthly allowance. She made a special inquiry and found that the monthly allowance for maids and servants was generally between 50 and 100 coins. She took the middle amount and gave them 80 coins. I was in such a rush the past 2 days that I didn't have time to talk about the monthly allowance. Let me make this clear to you today, the monthly allowance is 80 cash. In addition to the monthly allowance, there are 2 sets of clothes for each of the 4 seasons. Once you've learned the skills, the pay will increase to 200 coins per month. If you become a manager, it will be 500 coins. If I can work as an accountant in the shop or as a steward at home in the future, I'll need at least 1 tael of silver. This was the idea she came up with. She couldn't let the children drift aimlessly without any hope. She wanted things to get better year by year, so that people would have something to look forward to and be motivated to do things. Sure enough, the children perked up and started counting on their fingers. Old Mrs. Huang then said, "All right, everyone listen to me and get to work. Go on with your tasks. Xiaoyun will learn to make rouge from me, while Dia will go make clothes first." Lu Mingui let her make the arrangements, and went up the mountain with Song Xiaodong, Tai Niu and the others to see how the construction was going. These past few days, Lu Yongkong and his team have been busy building chicken coops, duck sheds, and pigsties. He couldn't finish the work himself, so he hired a few helpers. A helper earns 50 coins a day, plus 1 meal. From a distance, several small houses on the north hillside are already quite well built, and it seems they will be completed soon. Upon seeing Lu Mingui arrive, Lu Yongkong hurriedly ran over. "Auntie, it's almost finished." At the very top is the chicken coop, the smallest space, which can probably hold about 50 chickens. A bamboo frame has been set up inside, and a nest has been built for the hen to lay eggs. The middle area is a pigsty, and a feeding trough has been built in the corner, and a pit has been dug so that the pig manure can be used as fertilizer. The bottom is the duck shed, which is close to the river, making it convenient to herd the ducks into the river when needed. Lu Mingui looked around and nodded in satisfaction. Everything is fine. Remember to make sure the fence is secure. In addition to the chicken coop and pigsty, they also built a wooden house on the mountaintop. The wooden house is sturdy, with stone blocks underneath to prevent moisture. The walls are all made of wood, and there are windows on all four sides, offering excellent views. It wasn't very big inside. There were wooden planks and mattresses, enough for 4 or 5 people to sleep in. This house is reserved for Song Xiaodong and his friends to stay in at night, so they can keep an eye on the chickens, ducks, and pigs in the mountains. Lu Mingui wandered around for a while before going to pick up the chicks and ducklings she had ordered. These were all ordered from the livestock farmers in the village a few days ago. The chicks cost 10 coins each. They are authentic local Luan chickens with yellow beaks, yellow feet, yellow feathers, and yellow skin. The smaller ducks are a bit more expensive, at 15 coins each. They are Luman ducks, which are known for their high egg production and larger size. They are excellent for selling duck eggs, making braised duck, or stewed duck. In the end, we bought 40 chickens, but only needed 4 roosters, which was enough. Then we can hatch chicks at home. I also bought 30 ducks. The main purpose of raising ducks is to eat duck meat, half of them are male and half are female. I didn't dare buy too much. We'd never raised so many chickens before, let alone ducks, and we were afraid we wouldn't be able to raise them well. As for the piglets, they caught 4 of them, each weighing about 20 to 30 pounds. They had just been weaned, were in good spirits, and had shiny coats, so they were obviously good pigs. Lu Mingui bargained for a long time and finally got a better price. He bought 4 heads for 300 cash each, spending 1.2 taels of silver. Once the chickens, ducks, and piglets were brought home, the mountain suddenly became lively. Various squeaking sounds and the grunting of piglets. Lu Mingui then taught several children how to feed them. It needs to be cleaned and the water changed every day. The chickens, ducks and pigs are still small, so we can't feed them hard food. I'll bring them over later. Also, we need to guard against chickens and ducks going to the south hillside and ruining the wild vegetables. Song Xiaodong nodded. I understand, mother, don't worry. Tai Niu and the others also said, Auntie, we understand. Since they were all from the countryside, they were familiar with these things and picked them up quickly. Lu Mingui didn't lift a finger, but watched as the others worked efficiently. The chickens and ducks eat rice bran mixed with chopped vegetable leaves, and warm swill is poured into the pig trough. The chicks and ducklings were timid and shy, hiding inside and afraid to come out. Occasionally, a few of the bolder ones would dart out, peck at the chicks a few times, and then run back inside. The piglets weren't shy at all, they ate heartily until their bellies were round and full. Lu Mingui was extremely satisfied. Whether it was the rouge shop or the land, he was accumulating money little by little, and this family business would grow bigger day by day. Chapter 300 Discussion. At home, Song Xiaoqiu was browsing in the bookstore next door. The side room was converted into a kitchen, with 2 very deep stoves built there, where dishes will be cooked. Next to it is a place for washing and chopping vegetables, and drainage and other facilities are all in place. On the other side is the dishwashing area, everything is ready. However, Song Xiaoqiu was still worried. Mother said she wanted to open a restaurant and also sell wine. We already have the wine, but what kind of food will we sell? She had many ideas, but felt none of them would work. Just then, Lu Mingui returned from the mountain. She hurried to greet her and asked, Mother, are you tired? Have you bought all the piglets? I offered to go with you, but you wouldn't. Lu Mingui laughed and said, weren't you at home thinking about what to eat? What are you coming with me for? Isn't your brother coming along? Don't worry, everything is going smoothly on the mountain. I think Tai Niu and Chun Sheng's children are all quite diligent and listen to Xiaodong. Song Xiaoqiu nodded. That's good. Then she said, Mother, what kind of food do you think we should sell? I'm thinking of making and selling pancakes. Or steamed buns, dumplings, noodles, or dumplings. Lu Mingui shook her head. People from our area love to eat noodles, but people from Suzhou Prefecture don't. If you ask me, I'd say stir-fry and rice. Song Xiaoqiu was a little dumbfounded. She could cook and prepare dishes. Selling stir-fries. Doesn't that mean opening a restaurant? How many kinds of stir-fries would you need to know? I'm not a chef. She hesitated before asking, Mom, will my stir-fry be all right? Although I've never owned a restaurant before, my mother took them there once before, and the restaurant was very grand. The exterior features flying eaves and brackets, while the interior boasts winding corridors and balustrades, giving it a high-class feel. The people dining inside were all wealthy and noble, dressed in fine silks and satins. The dishes were served on exquisite plates, so elaborate that one hesitated to even pick up a chopstick. The most outrageous thing was the waiter who ordered the food, and he rattled off hundreds of dishes in one go. So many dishes. How many chefs would that require? This restaurant is not easy to open. It's not that she looks down on herself, but how could she be a head chef? Putting everything else aside, her knife skills are terrible. How could she carve a carrot into the shape of a rabbit? At most, she would cut the vegetables into shreds. Thinking about it, her little face scrunched up. Lu Mingui could see that her daughter was in a dilemma, and guessed that she must have misunderstood. She laughed and explained, "Silly girl, it's not what you think. Although the Wen family's bookstore is not small, it is not considered large either. It's certainly not big enough to open a restaurant." Now it was Song Xiaoqiu's turn to be puzzled. "Then why did you say you wanted to cook stir-fries? They say they want to sell stir-fried dishes, but they also say they don't want to open a restaurant." Lu Mingui then told her, "In the future, my mother discovered that they had a way of selling stir-fried dishes, called boxed lunches. This kind of boxed meal is very convenient." She recalled the few boxed meals she had eaten, each time consisting of 2 meat dishes, 1 small meat dish, 1 vegetable dish, and a serving of rice. Because it tasted so good, she even went to a boxed lunch store to check it out. The shop had several deep iron boxes containing various stir-fried dishes. Customers would order whatever they wanted, and the shopkeeper would serve it to them with a spoon. It's somewhat like the braised pork rice we ate on the road during the famine, but with more varieties. She told her daughter, "Just prepare a few stir-fried dishes for each meal. Prepare 1 meat dish, 1 small meat dish, 1 vegetable dish, and a serving of rice. There's no need to wait for the guests to order. We only have a few kinds of dishes, and people can choose from them. This way, we'll have the initiative. What do you think?" Song Xiaoqiu's eyes widened as she listened. "Mother, you mean you only need to prepare 3 dishes every day? That's convenient. It makes preparing ingredients and cooking much simpler. But wouldn't people get tired of it after a couple of meals?" Lu Mingui laughed and said, "This silly child, it's not like we cook these few dishes every day. Today I'll have braised pork with stir-fried cabbage, tomorrow I'll have pork stew with tofu, and the day after tomorrow I'll have braised fish. I'll keep changing the dishes. Mother has already calculated it. For example, a meal, a braised pork and cabbage dish, a stir-fried egg with chives, and a stir-fried vegetable dish, would cost 30 coins, and we could make more than 10 coins. The reason they can earn so much is naturally because vegetables and meat are cheap at the market. If you buy everything in the Ming Dynasty, you really won't make much money. However, it can't be sold too expensively, because most of the people around are dock workers, and they wouldn't be willing to eat it if it were too expensive. This is how you make more money, by having a large volume of orders." Song Xiaoqiu listened attentively and immediately felt a sense of direction, becoming full of enthusiasm. "Mom, then I'll write down a list of the dishes I can cook. You can pick out some dishes for me then, and see what to serve each day." Lu Mingui said, "Don't rush, come with me to see how the table in front is doing. The shops in front have already changed a lot. The original bookshelves have been dismantled, and the carpenter is leading a group of people to turn the wood into tables. Some of the wood was picked up by Lu Mingui last time. That time, a shop selling 4-piece bedding sets moved away from the market, leaving behind a lot of wooden planks, which she picked up and used this time. That saved a lot of money. This is what she always said. Save where you can and spend where you can. The carpenter runs a shop right across the street. He also made the cabinets for the Rouge shop last time. Unlike the meticulously crafted cabinets of the Rouge shop, this table was much more casual, requiring only a coat of clear varnish, and made entirely of old wood. The table wasn't a square table or an 8-immortal table, but a long table. The tables are a bit low, but they can seat more people. One table can seat 12 people. When the carpenter saw her arrive, he said, "Auntie, we can make 8 tables according to your requirements. Your shop isn't very big, but it's enough for your needs. Speaking of which, this long table saves on wood compared to a square table." Thinking of making more business, he asked, "Where are the chairs? Would you like me to make some for you while I'm at it?" Lu Mingui smiled and said, "Don't bother with the chairs, I've already ordered them." As they were talking, someone peeked in from outside. It was Li Niu, who always came to deliver winter bamboo shoots. He smiled and said, "Auntie, you're really here. We've brought you a chair." Lu Mingui quickly replied, "What a coincidence. We were just talking about the chair." Knowing that Li Niu's family grows bamboo and makes bamboo products, she thought of bamboo chairs. Bamboo chairs are sturdy and breathable, and most importantly, they are inexpensive and quick to make. A wooden chair costs over 100 coins, but a bamboo chair only costs 30 or 40 coins, she told Li Niu, who was naturally happy. The village lacked everything, but the one thing it had in abundance was bamboo chairs. He led the villagers in a frantic effort, and they finally managed to make 50 bamboo chairs. Chapter 301 Procurement. Li Niu also brought 2 villagers to help unload the goods. He asked, "Auntie, where should we put the chair?" Lu Mingui pointed inside the shop. "Put it over there for now." He then asked, "Didn't your wife come with you?" "My wife went back to her parents' home. Her family raises silkworms, and they're just starting to raise them now. They're very busy." Lu Mingui nodded and then looked at the bamboo chairs. They were all of the simplest style, but very sturdy. The 4 chair legs were made of thick old bamboo poles, and the seat was made of thin bamboo strips, all of which were polished smooth. "It's light and easy to hold. This is exactly the kind of chair that Lu Mingui wanted." She praised, "That's really good, the people in your village have excellent craftsmanship. I'll get the silver for you right now." Li Niu smiled. Han Hu Li. "No rush, ma'am, you can use it first. If there are no problems in 10 days or half a month, then you can settle my wages." He added, "If anything is broken, I'll go back and replace it with a new one for you." Seeing his insistence, Lu Mingui agreed for the time being. "Okay, I'll tell you if there's anything else." Li Niu then asked, "Auntie, do you still dig for wild vegetables?" "It's warmer these days, there's plenty of shepherd's purse. The water bamboo shoots are much bigger than before the Lunar New Year, and the tune shoots will be ready to eat soon." Lu Mingui was delighted to hear this and nodded, "Sure, just send them over. I'll say it again, you can never have too many." Li Niu then drove his mule cart back home. Every extra minute he was delayed meant he would earn less money. Before Lu Mingui could even invite him inside for a drink of water, another one arrived after she had seen one off. This time, it was Old Man Shen from the brickyard who came. He was driving a mule cart and had a young man with him. He stopped the mule cart with a whoosh, and called out to Lu Mingui, "Manager Lu, I've brought you a bowl." Lu Mingui hadn't even stepped into the shop when she heard the sound and quickly turned around. "Wow, it's done cooking so quickly." She ordered 150 coarse pottery bowls, 100 shallow dishes, and 100 wine bowls from Old Man Shen. It was originally said that it would take 7 days, but it was finished in only 5 days. Lu Mingui originally planned to buy it in the future, but after comparing prices, he found that it was cheaper in the Ming Dynasty, so he placed an order here. A coarse pottery bowl costs 1.5 coins, a plate costs 1 coin, and a wine bowl also costs 1 coin. Based on that calculation, she bought it at the brickyard. Old Man Shen said, "We already had some stock on hand, so it'll be very fast. You should check the goods." He and the young man worked together to lift several bamboo baskets down, which contained rough pottery bowls bundled together with dry straw, stacked in groups of 10, clearly arranged. Lu Mingui counted them and then examined a few rough pottery bowls closely. Old Man Shen pointed to the bowl and said, "Our family has been making this for 4 generations. The bowl has a smooth surface, and it's glazed to cover the burrs. It's also not sharp on your hands. Perfect for restaurants. If there are cracks, you can take it in for a replacement within the next few days. But if it takes any longer, we won't accept it." Lu Mingui nodded. "Looks good. If anything comes up, I'll come find you again." "All right, I'll get you the money." Since this is the first time the Shen family has done business, it's best to settle the accounts in full. Sure enough, Old Man Shen only exchanged a few polite words before taking more than 400 coins and leaving. Within a few days, everything in the shop was set up and the signboard was simple, with only the 4 characters, Lu's Restaurant, written on it. "We're just waiting for it to open." Song Xiaoqiu spent all her time in the kitchen, with Dia helping her. Lu Mingui went to the vegetable market to buy vegetables. On the first day, not knowing how business would be, we couldn't make too much, so we prepared enough for 50 people. Lu Mingui had never cooked for so many people before, so she could only estimate based on her own family's appetite. "When we get to the market, we'll first check what vegetables are cheap right now." As they wandered around, Zhu Yufeng pulled them over. "Auntie, it's been a long time. You look great." Lu Mingui admired Zhu Yufeng quite a bit. She was angry when Lu Mingui refused to sell her wild vegetables, but she quickly recovered. "I guess it's because I don't think things through or take them to heart, which is probably for the best." So she smiled and replied, "Really? You seem to have lost a bit of weight." Zhu Yufang was immediately delighted and twisted her body, saying, "Really? I'm on a diet. Isn't summer almost here? I bought a dress several days ago but I still can't wear it." The thing people who are trying to lose weight love to hear most is when others say they've lost weight. Zhu Yufang enthusiastically shared her secret. "I now don't eat after noon, and I've lost several pounds." Lu Mingui asked in surprise, "You don't eat after noon? So you only eat 2 meals a day?" "In the past, when there wasn't enough food at home, we would eat 2 meals a day. After getting up in the morning, we would go to work in the fields first. When the sun was high in the sky, we would go home to eat our first meal, and then go back to work. We wouldn't eat our second meal until it got dark." My stomach was growling with hunger all the while. Later, she was able to sell wild vegetables at the market and buy rice to take home, and she no longer wanted to eat only 2 meals a day. Zhu Yufang is quite something, she deliberately starves herself. But Zhu Yufang didn't care at all. "What can we do? How can you lose weight without starving yourself? You get used to it after a while." She then asked, "Auntie, why did you buy so much pork?" Lu Mingui didn't hide anything and said, "My daughter wants to make boxed lunches to sell, so I came to buy groceries for her." Zhu Yufang quickly replied, "Making boxed lunches? That's great. Making boxed lunches requires buying groceries, and that's how business comes in." She said, "From now on, you can buy your vegetables from my store. I'll give you a discount, how about that?" Lu Mingui hesitated. "To tell you the truth, my family's business hasn't even started yet, and we don't know how many vegetables we'll need. I might only use 10 or 20 kilograms a day." Zhu Yufang said, "Hey," and replied, "Are you worried I'll complain about the small business? How could I, a vegetable vendor, possibly complain about having a small business? Even if you only come to buy 2 scallions, I still have to weigh them for you, right? Besides, the business is just starting out. We'll grow it bigger and stronger in the future." Lu Mingui was persuaded by her and asked, "What vegetables are cheap now?" Zhu Yufang counted on her fingers and said, "Chinese cabbage, 1 yuan a pound. Baby bok choy, 1 yuan and 50 fen, chives, 2 yuan a pound, and potatoes, green beans, tomatoes, and lots more." After some consideration, Lu Mingui decided to make braised pork with Chinese cabbage for the first day's meat dish and stir-fried bok choy for the vegetable dish. "In the end, I bought 10 pounds of pork, and I'll put 2 ounces of meat in each serving of rice. 15 pounds of Chinese cabbage, 10 pounds of chives, 100 eggs, and 15 pounds of leafy greens. Excluding rice, it cost a little over 200 yuan. Zhu Yufang added, "Auntie, I didn't expect you to buy a cell phone. I was just about to give you your change." Lu Mingui waved her phone and laughed, "No need, I can scan codes now." After paying, she looked down and saw a pile of vegetable leaves on the ground, most of which were peeled off by the people who bought the cabbage. There were also some other vegetable leaves piled up in the corner. Lu Mingui bent down and picked it up. Upon inspection, it was neither rotten nor broken, at most, it was just a little old. Thinking about it, she squatted down and put the vegetable leaves into a plastic bag. Chapter 302 Picking Vegetables. Seeing this, Zhu Yufang quickly stopped her. "Auntie," she said with a strange look on her face, "don't blame me for being rude. When doing business, you definitely need to use genuine ingredients and have a conscience. These leaves on the ground are edible, but there's no need to. If your customers found out you're using rotten vegetable leaves to cook, it would really hurt your business." Upon hearing this, Lu Mingui knew that she had misunderstood, no wonder she had that expression. But she wasn't picking up vegetable leaves to feed the guests. What would that become? Heartless. She was both amused and exasperated. "What are you thinking? You think I'd give this to people to eat? What kind of person do you take me for?" He quickly clarified, "I raise several pigs and a lot of chickens and ducks at home. If I pick up these vegetable leaves and feed them to the pigs, chickens, and ducks, I can save a lot of pig feed at home, and I won't have to cut pig feed. This is wonderful." Seeing that she was serious, Zhu Yufang realized what had happened and exclaimed, "Oh, look what this mess has become. I misunderstood. The main issue is food safety, which is a very important matter right now. Auntie, I have a short temper, please don't be angry." Lu Mingui thought to herself, "What's there to be angry about? It's not like I just found out you have a short temper." She simply asked, "Can't we pick up these vegetable leaves? There are so many, it seems a shame to throw them away." Zhu Yufang hurriedly replied, "Yes, we can pick them up. These are all unwanted items, leaving them here means someone will come and clean them up. Our market is doing good business, we have to go to the market twice a day. Once at noon and once in the evening. Lu Mingui pressed further, do you know where it was swept away to? I'm not too sure about that, but I guess most of it is used as fertilizer, Zhu Yufeng said, unsure. If you want to collect it, just take a big snakeskin bag and collect it every day. Nobody cares. Lu Mingui was overjoyed. Then I won't stand on ceremony. After she finished speaking, she first gathered up all the vegetable leaves near Zhu Yufeng's stall. There were not only vegetable leaves, but also flattened tomatoes and broken cucumbers. There were many kinds and a considerable amount of them. When we get back, we'll add some bran and cook it, the little pig will definitely love it. A stall owner saw her picking up vegetable scraps and called out, Auntie, come and tidy up my side too. Business is good today, lots of trash. Lu Mingui first said, wait a moment, before secretly going to the White House and taking out all the plastic bags. She had saved up. There are dozens of them, big and small. She was overjoyed. She had long felt that plastic bags shouldn't be thrown away, and now they had come in handy. They picked up vegetable leaves right there at the vegetable stall, and in no time they had filled more than a dozen bags, which they put inside the White House. As Lu Mingui picked them up, she felt regretful, wondering why she hadn't noticed so many vegetable leaves before. I've really missed out on so much. It seems I'll have to come here every day to collect more, so I can raise a few more pigs. After picking up the vegetables, Lu Mingui went to Guanlin residence. This time I'm here to pick up a package. She bought 2 large rice cookers online. The rice cooker at Guanlin residence was small, capable of cooking rice for 4 or 5 people at a time. That was the first time Lu Mingui realized that steaming rice was so convenient. You can steam fragrant rice without watching the fire or scooping out excess rice water. Moreover, rice kept warm in a rice cooker as long as it's plugged in, this is called keeping warm. The downside is that it doesn't have crispy rice crust. However, for business purposes, this crispy rice crust is optional. So when the topic of making boxed lunches came up, she immediately thought that she absolutely had to buy rice cookers. At that time, both large stoves in the house will be used for stir-frying, so there will be no need to set aside a pot for cooking rice. Once it's cooked, take the rice over and pour it into a wooden bucket, then continue cooking. It won't cause any delays. She opened the package and looked at the instructions. This one was simpler than the original rice cooker, with only one button, unlike the one at home which required pressing many buttons. After everything was done, I hurriedly went back. Xiaoqiu, Mom has bought vegetables and meat. Come and see what you think. The meat I bought was on the fatty side, and the vegetables were all fresh. Song Xiaoqiu looked through the list and said, Mom, let's wash and prepare the vegetables tonight, and I'll cook them tomorrow morning. Really, you're only making one meal at lunchtime? Lu Mingui nodded. Let's just make one meal first, and then we'll make the evening meal when business is better. Come on, let's prepare the vegetables together. Song Xiaoqiu was reluctant to let her mother work so hard. You've been busy all day, go and take a rest. I'll take care of Daya and Xiaoyun and we'll pack it up. Lu Mingui was indeed tired, so she didn't try to push herself. She went to the front shop to see if there was anything that wasn't prepared and to fill in any gaps. Inside the restaurant, the tables and chairs were already neatly arranged. At the very back of the shop was a makeshift stove. This stove isn't for cooking, it's for keeping food warm. There is a firebox under the stove, with a few pieces of charcoal inside. There's an iron pot on top, with hot water boiled in it, and then a wooden bucket full of vegetables is placed in the hot water. By continuously heating the food with steam, the dish will never get cold. When guests come, it's very convenient to serve them food anytime. Of course, this was also imitating that boxed rice restaurant, but they used electricity to keep the food warm, while Lu Mingui didn't have electricity and could only use charcoal. After the food is served, walk forward to the payment area. After receiving payment, chopsticks are given to the guests. Therefore, 2 or 3 people must be placed in front of this. One person was responsible for serving the food, and the other was responsible for collecting the money. Upon closer inspection, Lu Mingui felt as if something was missing, and after a moment's thought, she remembered. The boxed lunch restaurant in later generations had free tea and free soup. That was my oversight, I should have at least prepared a pot of soup. What kind of soup should I prepare? She was too lazy to think for herself and went straight to the boxed lunch store. The market was past lunchtime, but there were still quite a few people in the boxed lunch restaurants. Lu Mingui went inside, and no one paid any attention to her. It's a genuine boxed lunch shop, with 17 or 18 kinds of stir-fried dishes inside. People are holding trays and queuing up to get their food. Lu Mingui looked enviously at the stainless steel tray. She had one too, but it was made of wood. If it's made of wood, then it's bound to get moldy sooner or later. But for now, we can only make do with what we have. Lu Mingui wasn't there for a meal, she was there to learn from their skills. When I got to the big iron barrel, I saw that today's dish was seaweed and egg drop soup. Since it was free soup, there was only a few sparse seaweeds floating in it, and the egg drop soup was almost invisible, but since it was free, no one complained. Having learned what kind of soup it was, Lu Mingui went to the dried goods store to buy seaweed. Chapter 303 Opening a Restaurant. The next day, Lu Mingui got up very early, but Song Xiaoqiu got up even earlier and was already busy in the kitchen with Dia and Xiaoyun. She was a little nervous. Mom, what if we can't sell them? If no one eats it, wouldn't it be a waste of time? She was afraid there would be no business. Lu Mingui smiled and comforted him. How could it be for nothing? Think about how many people we have. How could we not finish it? If we can't sell them, Mom will eat 2 portions. Alright, stop overthinking and get ready to cook. Today's auspicious time is 9:45 a.m., we will open for business on time. Seeing that her daughter still looked worried, she said again, go ahead and don't worry, your mother is here. Just do it the way you normally would. By the way, you know how to use those seasonings Mom bought for you, right? I bought some chicken bouillon, MSG, pepper powder, and Sichuan peppercorn powder. I've tried it a few times at home with seasonings, and it really tastes good. Song Xiaoqiu nodded. I know, but our meat and vegetables are fresh, so we don't need to add much. If you add too much, the flavor will be too strong and will overpower the original freshness, which is not good. When it comes to cooking, her daughter is always right, so Lu Mingui is very reassured. She said, that's good. By the way, your cousin Yongyan will also help us recruit people at the inn. Go on with your work, don't delay things. She actually felt there was no need to worry. If things really didn't work out, as she said, it would just be for her family to eat, so it wouldn't be wasted. Song Xiaoqiu then went to get busy. First, the stir-fried dishes were placed on the front stove to keep them warm. Then, Dia and Wenchu were taught how to serve the dishes and how much to put in each plate. The 2 girls learned very quickly and were quite nimble. Lu Mingui then hung the wooden sign outside the shop, with the names of the dishes written on it in charcoal. Today's set meal: braised pork with cabbage, scrambled eggs with chives, stir-fried greens, rice, and a complimentary seaweed soup. The price was clearly written down, 30 coins per serving. This is considered the restaurant's menu. Bowls, plates, and chopsticks are all ready, we're just waiting to set off firecrackers for the grand opening. At 6:45 a.m., the auspicious time arrives. The signboard of Lu Ji Restaurant fluttered in the spring breeze, and the crackling sound of firecrackers rang out. The aroma of food wafted out of the shop, attracting curious glances from many passers-by. Is this a newly opened restaurant? What kind of food are they selling? Lu Mingui stood at the door, shouting loudly with all his might. Our shop serves stir-fried dishes and rice, only 30 coins a serving. 3 dishes and a bowl of rice, including braised pork and scrambled eggs. It has rice and meat, and the portions are generous and filling. Don't miss it if you're passing by. 30 coins, only 30 coins, plus a free bowl of seaweed and egg drop soup. Some people were tempted, but stopped in their tracks when they heard the price. 30 copper coins for just one meal. That's a bit expensive. If you go to buy flatbread and eat it with pickled vegetables, it will be enough for several meals. Some people said, haven't you heard? There's meat and eggs. How is this price expensive? They even give you soup. Shall we go try some? The man shook his head repeatedly. Well, that's true, but I can't bear to part with it either. Never mind, let's just go buy some steamed buns. There were quite a few people watching outside, but no one went into the restaurant to eat, they were all just looking around. Even if the aroma is irresistible and people are drooling, they still won't be the first to step inside. Lu Mingui wasn't in a hurry, everything is difficult at the beginning. Another issue is that there's no one in the store right now, so people are even less willing to come in, that's how it is. But inside, Song Xiaoqiu's smile was almost impossible to maintain. She held the large spoon, her heart pounding with anxiety. Why is no one coming to eat? It's almost lunchtime, time to get some customers. Just as I was getting anxious, I heard someone calling from outside, "Auntie, I'm here for dinner." The energetic young man grinned at Lu Mingui, followed by several peers. "Auntie, these are all my colleagues. We've come together for a meal." Lu Mingui looked and saw that it was Zhang Yuanzhou who had arrived. "This kid said a few days ago that he would come to support us, and I never expected that he would actually come, and he was the first one to arrive." She quickly ushered them in. "Please come in, it's our opening day, we're giving away a bowl of wine." Upon hearing this, several colleagues exclaimed happily, "You're even sending wine." "Thank you so much, Auntie." As the group walked inside, they smelled the aroma of food and couldn't help but take a deep breath. "It smells so good. This smell is absolutely amazing. I wasn't hungry at first, but the aroma made me hungry." Zhang Yuanzhou strode in and grinned at Song Xiaoqiu, "I'm here." Song Xiaoqiu's heart, which had been clenched with anxiety, suddenly relaxed. She couldn't help but smile at him before softly replying, "I'll serve you some food and rice." Zhang Yuanzhou was stunned by her laughter, and a little voice in his heart seemed to be jumping around, saying, "So beautiful." From the first moment he saw her, he thought she was beautiful, beautiful in every way, as if she had been etched into his heart. After that moment of surprise, the others who followed in all burst into laughter. Someone joked, "Looks like he's still not hungry enough." Someone just said they were starving and urged us to hurry up. Another person said, "I was hungry before, but now that I've seen my sweetheart, I don't care if I'm hungry or not." Song Xiaoqiu blushed deeply, but Zhang Yuanzhou didn't seem to care at all. He wished everyone in Changzhou County knew that Song Xiaoqiu was his betrothed. However, despite his smugness, he changed the subject out of consideration for Song Xiaoqiu's shyness. Eat first, eat first. I'll teach you how to buy it. Hey, line up here, grab a wooden tray first, then move forward. He knows it very well. As he moved, Song Xiaoqiu had already ladled out a plate of stewed cabbage and placed it on the stove. Zhang Yuanzhou picked up the bowl of food and put it on the tray. Then, as he walked forward, Daya had also served a plate of stir-fried eggs with chives, followed by Wen Shu's stir-fried greens. At the very front was a large bowl of rice, which was surprisingly snow-white. The others were somewhat incredulous. 30 coins for a serving. Not only did it include meat and eggs, but it was also served with fine rice. Can this really make money? Zhang Yuanzhou turned around and saw several people staring at the rice, their jaws practically dropping to the ground. He laughed and said, "Look at you all, so unsophisticated. Hurry up." He then took the wooden tray and went to pay the bill. The tray held 3 dishes, a bowl of rice, and an empty space for a bowl of soup. Song Xiaodong was collecting money and getting chopsticks at the front. The 4 or 5 people behind him followed suit and put the plates into the tray. Song Xiaoqiu and the others worked efficiently and without disorder. Song Xiaodong argued with Zhang Yuanzhou. "Mother said she won't accept your money." Zhang Yuanzhou disagreed. "That won't do. How can you do business without taking money? But your family." He was overjoyed by Song Xiaodong's words, "We're all family." "That's right, we're family," Zhang Yuanzhou nodded, "so we should definitely charge you. Even close brothers should keep clear accounts." He then pulled out 180 coins and forcibly paid for the meal for the people behind him. Cheers immediately erupted from several colleagues behind him. "Thank you very much, Brother Zhang. Thank you very much, Brother Zhang." Song Xiaodong had no choice but to accept the copper coins, and then said, "There is some free seaweed and egg drop soup ahead. You can take a bowl and fill it yourself, it's free." Some people were surprised. Isn't it supposed to be a complimentary drink? Why is there soup included? Chapter 304 Attracting Customers. Lu Mingui then walked in and explained, "The wine was given as a gift during the first few days of the opening, we won't be giving it away anymore. However, if you buy it to drink, the price won't be expensive. It will only cost 5 coins a bowl. As for this seaweed and egg drop soup, it is delivered daily. There will be other soups served in the future." They were all quite surprised that not only were wines delivered, but soup was also delivered every day. This soup may look ordinary, but it's topped with oil, which is quite generous. They quickly praised, "Auntie is so generous. Your business will surely prosper in the future." Lu Mingui smiled and said, "Thank you for your kind words." He added, "Try it while it's hot. Putting everything else aside, our food is absolutely delicious. If you like it, you'll come back to support me again next time." They all agreed, "We'll definitely come often. 30 coins for a meal is nothing to them. However, it depends on whether the food is good and whether it's worth coming back. If it's not good, I won't come back no matter how cheap it is. One of them picked up his chopsticks first and took a bite of the oily braised pork. He shook the braised pork twice on his chopsticks and then swallowed it in one gulp. Salty, oily, and full-bodied, it brings indescribable satisfaction. His eyes widened in amazement. This flavor is amazing. Seeing his reaction, the person next to him quickly asked, Zhang, is it delicious? Is it delicious? Zhang instinctively protected his tray, reluctantly swallowing the meat in his mouth before speaking. You have some too, you'll know once you eat it. The person then realized, oh right, everyone's food is the same. He didn't eat the meat, but instead picked up a piece of stir-fried eggs with chives. The chives were bright green, washed very clean, and stir-fried until just cooked through. Not too tough, not too tender, just right. The eggs inside were in large chunks. They were even more generous with the amount than when you fry eggs at home. These chives smell so good. You should all try some. Everyone picked up their chopsticks and started eating. Even though they had food in their mouths, it didn't stop them from talking, and they kept praising how delicious it was. How come even the bok choy tastes so good? It's crisp and sweet. They must have been willing to use a lot of oil. Look at the bottom of this dish, there's a thick layer of oil. Some people even pour the stewed cabbage and meat directly into their rice and mix it in before eating. It tastes even better this way. The cabbage is stewed until it's full of pork flavor, even better than pork itself. Zhang Yuanzhou looked up and saw that apart from them, no one else had come into the shop. He glanced at Song Xiaoqiu, who was looking down, and made up his mind. He stood up and said, brothers, let's eat first. The others were puzzled. Where are you going? Me, I'll eat out. As Zhang Yuanzhou spoke, he picked up the wooden tray and walked towards the door. Then he sat on the steps, placed the tray on his lap, picked up the bowl, and began to eat heartily. The expression on his face was as if he were eating some supreme delicacy. Many onlookers came over and asked curiously, young man, is it really that delicious? Zhang Yuanzhou was only eating to impress others, so upon hearing this, he nodded exaggeratedly, I have never eaten such delicious food before. Look, this piece of meat is cut into such a big piece. It's so oily and delicious, it's really satisfying. And this stir-fried eggs with chives is so tender, and the eggs are so fragrant. The most delicious thing is this bowl of finely cooked rice. You guys eat brown rice at home, right? If you ask me, that's too coarse. Refined rice is much better, it's so soft and sticky. Even this bowl of soup they brought is called seaweed and egg drop soup. It has seaweed and eggs in it. Look, it's free, but they've put plenty of oil in it. He was a living advertisement, eating with such relish that he made everyone else drool. Besides, the dishes look delicious, and the soup is free. Many people then walked inside. On the first day of opening, we absolutely have to taste it to see if it's salty enough. Give me one. I want one too. Is it really refined rice? Good heavens, that's not cheap. How much do I need to buy this? Yes. Why is no one serving us? Lu Mingui was serving drinks to a few people when she heard the noise. She looked up and saw a large group of people rushing in. She quickly put down the wine cup in her hand and called out to the people, just take your trays and line up to get your food. Go to the front to pay the copper coins, and grab some chopsticks while you're at it. That's complimentary soup over there. Find a seat yourself, any empty chair will do. Let these people line up for their own food, that way, we won't need to hire a waiter to serve them. This also saves on labor costs. Soon, the shop became lively and bustling with noise. Acquaintances greeted each other. Wang Si, you're here too. Shunzi, come here, I've saved a seat for you. Brother Li, this meal is on you. Various sounds rose and fell, and soon a long line formed at the food serving area. Daya panicked when she saw so many people. She exclaimed in panic, girl, there are so many people, what are we going to do? Song Xiaoqiu was initially a little flustered, but looking at Daya and Wen Shu, who were both still young, she knew she would have to rely on herself to support them. Looking again at Lu Mingui in the distance, her mother was busy too. Besides, she can't rely on her mother for everything. He calmed himself down and reassured her, it's all right, we'll serve them one by one. We know the quantities. Don't panic. While talking, his hands kept moving, filling plate after plate with stewed meat. Seeing this, Daya didn't bother to look at the guests and focused on her work. Lu Mingui brought the wine over, only to find that Zhang Yuanzhou was not there. Zhang Qi quickly swallowed the food in his mouth and said, he took the tray and went outside to eat. Lu Mingui was taken aback. Forgetting about bringing more wine, she walked a few steps to the door and saw Zhang Yuanzhou sitting alone on the steps. He had a tray on his lap and a bowl in his hand, eating his meal with exaggerated movements, probably to show how delicious the food was. Seeing this, Lu Mingui immediately understood what the child was doing. This is to attract customers for the store. It was still chilly in early spring, and I figured the food would be cold by then. Lu Mingui felt a pang of heartache. How could you eat here, child? Come in and sit down to eat. Chapter 305 Fast Food. Zhang Yuanzhou raised his head and said, "It's all right, auntie. You go ahead and get busy, I'll be done eating in a bit." Seeing that he wouldn't listen, Lu Mingui couldn't help but sigh. Because of Xiao Chu's previous marriage, she was picky and wary of her future son-in-law. Xiao Chu was afraid that she might accidentally run into another jerk. So although she was grateful to Zhang Yuanzhou for saving Xiao Chu, ever since they got engaged, she always felt that the boy was a bit reckless, and she was also afraid that he was younger than Xiao Chu and didn't know how to take care of people at all. Looking back now, he was actually quite meticulous despite his rough exterior, responsible in his work, and incredibly kind to Xiao Chu. Perhaps I should be at ease now. Just as I was thinking this, a large crowd had already gathered at the entrance. Someone peered inside and asked, "Boss, is there no room inside?" Lu Mingui snapped out of her daze and laughed, "Oh dear, there are no seats left. Please wait a moment outside. This is fast food, so we'll eat quickly." Fast food, the man repeated, puzzled. What is fast food? Lu Mingui didn't explain much, only saying, "You'll know when you eat it." Seeing that she was still keeping him in suspense, the man became even more interested. "All right, then I'll wait. If it's delicious, I'll come every day, if it's not delicious, then..." He grunted twice and didn't say anything more. Lu Mingui pretended not to hear. On the first day of business, she didn't want to have a conflict with this person. More importantly, she has confidence in her family's cuisine. Someone inside called out, "Where's the wine? Why hasn't it arrived yet?" Lu Mingui hurriedly turned around to get busy, while Zhang Yuanzhou finished his meal and stood up briskly. "Auntie, let me help." The two of them, one fetching the wine and the other delivering it, actually sped things up considerably. Soon, each person had a bowl of complimentary wine on their tray. Many people don't take the free wine seriously. It's free, so what good wine could it be? But when I looked at the wine, it was clear and refreshing, and it smelled delicious, so I casually picked it up and took a sip. Who would have thought that just one bite would make someone so addicted? Someone exclaimed, "Good wine, good wine. It's potent. The shopkeeper is so generous, even the wine he gives away is so good." Someone else asked, "Just 3 days of delivery? No more deliveries after that?" Lu Mingui smiled and said, "We can only deliver for 3 days. Our shop is newly opened, and we're operating at a loss to attract customers. We're just letting you guys try something new. It won't be expensive to buy it later. A bowl of wine like this only costs 5 coins. You can drink a little while eating and it will make your work less tiring. If you buy a whole jar, it will only cost 120 coins." Originally, she only wanted to sell a jar for 80 coins, but later she found that local cloudy wine was selling for 80 coins, so she simply set the price at 120 coins. She knew that the wine she bought from the future was not good wine. But its appeal lies in its high alcohol content, even stronger than strong liquor, which is why it's so popular. However, the price cannot be too high, otherwise these people will not be able to afford it. Sure enough, the man became interested after hearing the price. "Okay, I'll buy a jar of wine later." Lu Mingui nodded in agreement. "Okay, but this jar will require a deposit of 50 coins. Your deposit will be refunded once the jar is returned. Depositing money is no problem." The person who spoke readily agreed. Lu Mingui then went to prepare wine for him. The shop was already packed with people, many of whom were eating and praising the food. "This tastes really good, the meat is so fragrant. With such a big piece of meat, how can the shopkeeper make any money? Won't he lose money? Only 30 coins, this meal is really worth it, I'll come again tonight." "Tonight? You won't be able to eat tonight. The shopkeeper said he'll only be making lunch today." Some people complained. "Why only cook one meal? Why not make money?" "Shopkeeper, really, just one meal?" Lu Mingui nodded. "I'll just make one lunch today. Starting tomorrow, I'll make lunch and dinner." This is what Lu Yunxi meant by a trial opening, to see if the shop can handle the workload, to gauge customer feedback, and to estimate what kind of food needs to be prepared in the future. In hindsight, we were unprepared. However, having fewer options also has its advantages, which is another term for this: scarcity marketing. If you make people tired of the food too quickly, they won't come back next time. Soon, the first group of people who had eaten had finished eating and drinking and seemed to be very satisfied. Everyone ate with their mouths full of oil, saying they would come again tomorrow. As soon as the group left the store, someone asked, "How was it? Was it delicious?" These people exclaimed exaggeratedly, "It's not just delicious, it's absolutely divine. Not only is it cheap and the portions are huge, but the taste is absolutely amazing." Those who didn't get to eat couldn't help but swallow hard, while those who did suddenly felt a sense of superiority. They patted their bellies and said, "We've eaten so much today, it's been a long time since we've had such a satisfying meal. I could tell from the smell outside that this tasted amazing. You're still dawdling and won't come in. How ignorant." The people queuing outside secretly scoffed. "What's so special about it? It's just a bowl of rice. As if anyone has never eaten meat. I can always come earlier tomorrow." Inside the county government office, Clerk Joe looked at the food box in front of him. The food inside had already gone cold. "It's all right if it gets cold. There are small stoves in the yamen to heat up the food, but the food is all burnt." His mother was old and forgot that there was food stewing in the pot. She went to talk to the neighbors and accidentally burned it. It happens once, and it happens twice. After eating the same gruel for 3 days straight, Clerk Joe could no longer stand it. Couldn't he at least buy a pancake to eat? So he left the county government office with his hands behind his back. Along the way, I could hear groups of 2 or 3 people talking. No wonder the shopkeeper called it fast food. It's served quickly, eaten quickly, and you get full quickly too. What's so fast about it? There's still a queue. Luckily, we got there a little faster. Business is really good. I'll have to come earlier tomorrow, otherwise I'll end up like those other people and won't be able to get any food. Yes, I'll be there at 9 a.m. tomorrow. That's too early. Joe, the registrar, became curious. What kind of shop? What can't they eat? He rubbed his rumbling stomach and headed towards the streets of Yinshan. Luji restaurant was still packed with people. There were still people waiting outside. Lu Mingui glanced at the remaining dishes and quickly went to remind them, "Those at the back, don't line up anymore, the food is sold out." The people at the back of the line were unhappy. "I've been waiting for ages. Why don't you do more?" Lu Mingui apologized, "Please come early tomorrow." But there was nothing they could do, so they could only shake their heads and disperse, planning to come earlier tomorrow. Song Xiaoqiu finally felt relieved after serving the last meat dish. Sold out. In less than an hour, all sold out. Her face flushed with excitement. "Mom, does today count as a good start?" Lu Mingui nodded. "Of course it counts, why wouldn't it? Aren't you worried now? I told you, your cooking is excellent." Then he asked, "Are you tired?" Song Xiaoqiu shook her head. "I'm not tired. Seeing so many people enjoying their food makes me happy too." Zhang Yuanzhou also came over and felt a pang of heartache when he saw the sweat on Song Xiaoqiu's forehead. He said, "Auntie, Xiaoqiu, you two go and rest. I'll take care of things here. You've been busy all day, go and have some water. There's a lot to do, like cleaning up the leftover dishes and wiping the table." Lu Mingui hurriedly said, "How can I let you clean up?" "I'll do it. What's the big deal? I'll do it." Several people were vying to do the work when Joe, the registrar, walked in from outside. He saw a mess, with only the aroma of leftover food remaining. This can't be all gone already, can it?" He rushed to the stove where the food was served, but his last hope was dashed. There was nothing left inside. I'm late." Clerk Joe stared at the group in disbelief, his gaze finally settling on Lu Mingui. "Sister-in-law Lu, you own a restaurant, why didn't you tell me?" Chapter 306 Fried Rice. Lu Mingui was taken aback by his question. Does opening a restaurant require reporting to you?" Clerk Joe looked slightly embarrassed. "No, that's not it. Opening a restaurant is a minor matter, so there's no need to report it." He said sheepishly, "Well, I'm just hungry." Then he said to Zhang Yuanzhou, "Why didn't you tell me about this good thing? Do you know how I swallow my lunch every day?" He has been thinking about that meal he had at the Song family's house before the Lunar New Year ever since. Who would have thought that even though the Song family finally opened a restaurant, I wouldn't be the first to get a taste. You can't even get one today. The aroma is so enticing, but I can't taste it. It's so upsetting. Zhang Yuanzhou asked in confusion, "Didn't you say you didn't care much about food and drink?" I saw you eating burnt food every day, and I thought you liked it. Clerk Joe stared wide-eyed. Who would want to eat burnt food? That's because I'm hungry. Lu Mingui then understood why he was so agitated, but there really was nothing left today, not even the seaweed and egg drop soup. I'm so sorry, there's nothing left. I'll have Xiaodong send you a portion tomorrow. Clerk Joe is still feeling unwell. We'll send it over tomorrow. So what should we eat today? He took a deep breath. Fine, I'll just smell it a little longer. Zhang Yuanzhou said helplessly, it can't be that bad, can it? Are you that hungry? Clerk Joe wished he could smash the mushy rice his own mother had made over Zhang Yuanzhou's head. Was it really necessary? Why wouldn't it be necessary? If Zhang Yuanzhou could only eat 3/10 of his full capacity every day, would he be anxious? They might even be craving it more than I am. Seeing this, Lu Mingui had no choice but to say to Song Xiaoqiu, I see there's still some rice left. Go and fry some broken gold rice for Lord Zhou. Small gold rice is fried rice with egg, where the egg flowers coat the rice grains like small pieces of gold. It was later called egg fried rice, but many ingredients were added to it. Shredded meat, sausage, and the like. Lu Mingui didn't intend to make it too complicated, to prevent this Registrar Zhou from knowing too much, so she just made the simplest egg fried rice. Song Xiaoqiu nodded. I understand, mother. I've made fried rice with eggs at home a few times, and it's more popular than the broken gold rice, a type of fried rice. The broken egg rice is made by coating the rice grains with egg liquid, while fried rice is made by frying the egg first and then frying the rice. Fried rice has less of an eggy smell than broken egg rice and is also more convenient. She turned around and headed towards the backyard, and Zhang Yuanzhou followed to help. Seeing this, Lu Mingui didn't interfere. It was broad daylight, and she believed that neither of them were overstepping their bounds. Lord Zhou, please wait a moment. Lu Mingui gave a shout and, together with Dia and Wen Shu, began to tidy up. The food was eaten completely clean. She had originally thought she could get some swill to feed the pigs on the mountain, but now it seems she shouldn't count on that. However, the fact that the food is clean shows that customers approve of the restaurant, which is a good thing. A short while later, Zhang Yuanzhou brought out a large bowl of broken gold rice. Lord Zhou, the meal is ready. It's a pity there's no soup, so we'll have to eat it like this. Let me pour you a bowl of tea. Zhou, the registrar, had already been completely captivated by that large bowl of broken gold rice. He murmured to himself, the rice is as white as shattered jade, the eggs are as golden as foil, the scallions are as green as fresh chives, and the aroma is as fragrant as spring smoke. Good food, good food. Everyone pursed their lips in unison. Scholars are scholars, they always have to say a few words of praise before eating. After praising him, Zhou, the registrar, couldn't wait to pick up a spoon, scoop up a spoonful, and put it into his mouth. It's delicious, it's absolutely delicious. I have never eaten such delicious fried rice. It looks, smells, and tastes amazing. It's wonderful. Miss Song, your cooking skills are truly superb. Song Xiaoqiu blushed slightly. Thank you for your praise, sir. Zhang Yuanzhou felt honored and was about to praise his future wife a few more times when he saw Zhou Zubu pick up the bowl of fried rice and leave. He said, Manager Lu, I have to go now. I'll return this bowl and spoon to you tomorrow. Lu Mingui quickly replied, all right, you go ahead and do your thing. He then said to his family, I didn't expect Lord Zhou to be so busy with official duties that he can't even eat properly. This is truly a blessing for us ordinary people. The praise made Zhou, the registrar, feel a little guilty, so he quickened his pace, not to return to his own office but to go directly to Magistrate Zhang. Magistrate Zhang had just finished his lunch and was leisurely drinking tea. Then Zhou, the registrar, walked briskly to the front, his wide sleeves concealing something as if he were hiding something. He asked suspiciously, why aren't you having lunch? What are you doing here? Clerk Zhou smiled mysteriously, we've come here for lunch, sir. Magistrate Zhang sneered, don't come here and get in my way. I feel nauseous just from the smell of burnt food. Take your burnt rice and get out of here. That old rascal is trying to play the poor card in front of me again. What does the porridge his mother made have to do with me? Unexpectedly, Clerk Zhou was neither angry nor annoyed. He simply removed the sleeve covering the rice, revealing a bowl of golden fried rice. As the sleeve was removed, an enticing fragrance wafted out. Magistrate Zhang suddenly felt hungry again, as if he hadn't eaten lunch. He swallowed hard and asked, what is this? Let me see it. Clerk Joe turned and left, saying, "This humble official would rather not be here and get in your way, sir. I've gone back to my room for a meal." He walked very fast and was out the door in the blink of an eye. Magistrate Zhang felt as if his soul had been stolen away, so he put down his teacup and chased after him. "Jolie, don't go. Why are you so angry? I was just saying it casually. Where did you get this fried rice? It looks so unusual. Give me a bite, just one bite." Half of the last bowl of fried rice ended up in Magistrate Yang's stomach. He complained, "Why are you so slow? You're making me feel uncomfortable." Clerk Joe's lips twitched. "Sir, are you blaming me for not being able to compete with you? Why don't you blame this fried rice for being too delicious? Why don't we just arrest the person who made the fried rice?" Inscription in Chapter 307. Magistrate Zhang, his beard bristling and eyes wide, exclaimed, "Am I the kind of person who can't distinguish right from wrong?" Joe, the registrar, glanced at him, the meaning in his eyes self-evident. Magistrate Zhang could only cough twice, rubbing his stomach, and ask, "Then tell me, who cooked this fried rice? It couldn't have been your mother who cooked it, could it? If your mother had this cooking skill, you wouldn't be starving every day." Registrar Joe did not keep them in suspense any longer. "This is your niece-in-law's cooking. The Song family owns a restaurant. Didn't expect that, did you? I mentioned before the new year that I wanted the Song family to open a restaurant, and they actually did. Now I'm finally sure I have something for lunch." Then, with a hint of regret, she said, "I heard there were 3 dishes, a soup, and rice today, but I didn't get any of them." "No, I still have a special fried rice." Magistrate Zhang stroked his beard. "They've already opened it. To be honest, I was originally thinking of having the Song family open a restaurant, but I haven't had a chance to persuade them yet. Now that it's open, I must go and try it tomorrow." Clerk Joe nodded. "That's right, I'll go early tomorrow too. I have to try it no matter what." The next day, Lu Ji restaurant changed its menu. Today's meat dishes were braised chicken pieces, minced meat tofu, and garlic spinach. Almost as soon as the door opened, a large number of people poured in. There are people who ate there yesterday and want to eat there again today, and there are people who queued up yesterday but didn't get to eat. Business was even better than yesterday. Fortunately, after yesterday, everyone has become much more skilled. The serving of food and rice was done in an orderly manner. Just as they were busy, Magistrate Zhang entered with Registrar Zhou. Lu Mingui quickly welcomed them into the shop, but unfortunately there were no private rooms. Even if the emperor himself came, he could only sit with ordinary people. Fortunately, this was exactly the effect Magistrate Zhang wanted. He raised his voice and said, "No need to make any special arrangements, I'll eat whatever everyone else eats." He added, "When I was taking the imperial examinations, I often ate at small restaurants. If there were such a restaurant, that would be truly amazing. The price is reasonable, and most importantly, the taste is absolutely amazing." He also told the diners, "Please enjoy your meal and don't feel uncomfortable." Many people who were initially reserved relaxed. After that, people said that this county magistrate was diligent in his duties, loved the people, and was humble. Lu Mingui didn't actually let Magistrate Zhang squeeze in with others. Instead, he found a quiet table and personally served the 2 of them their meal. The complimentary wine should not be omitted. It filled the entire tray. After Magistrate Zhang had eaten and drunk his fill, looking at the bowls and plates on the tray, he was inspired and wrote a couplet: 3 dishes, 2 bowls, 1 cup, 3 meals a day, 5 flavors in 4 seasons. Lu Mingui had this calligraphy engraved on the wall inside the shop. Whenever someone enters the shop, they will see this calligraphy first. They also benefited from the honor, as the magistrate of Zhang County wrote an inscription for them, and afterwards, Lu's restaurant business became increasingly prosperous. 3 days later, Lu Ji restaurant stopped delivering alcohol. However, those who tasted the wine longed for it, and as a result, the wine business thrived. Lu Mingui then signed a contract with the small wine shop in the market and started buying wine from that shop. The small business owner was naturally happy too. Buying goods from him helped him increase sales, and he didn't have to deliver them, which was very convenient. Lu Mingui is busy buying groceries and wine every day, so busy that her feet barely touch the ground. The store is doing well, so we don't have enough staff. In the beginning, they could rely on their own family members to help with things like washing dishes and vegetables. Over time, it became clear that they couldn't keep up with the workload. So Lu Mingui thought of hiring someone again, and went to the brokerage firm twice, but couldn't find a suitable one. So, besides studying with Wen Shoukai, the children in the family helped wash dishes and vegetables. Later, even their sister-in-law, Wang, came to help with the chores. Lu Mingui couldn't bear to see her sister-in-law, who was so old, still having to do chores, so she had to come up with another idea. There was simply not enough manpower at home. Even with my older brothers working in the fields, they couldn't keep up. Just as he was worrying, Li Niu arrived. This time, we brought bamboo shoots and some other wild vegetables. His wife, Shui Lian, also came, bringing Lu Mingui a handkerchief she had embroidered herself. There are 3 handkerchiefs in total. The handkerchief is soft and smooth, and the embroidery is extremely exquisite with fine stitches. One of the handkerchiefs is embroidered with a cluster of osmanthus flowers. The golden osmanthus flowers are so lifelike that you can almost smell their fragrance through the handkerchief. There are also lotus flower and orchid designs. Auntie, we don't have anything else, so I'll just embroider a handkerchief for you. Her family raises silkworms. Besides raising silkworms, they also boil cocoons, extract silk, and weave cloth. Shui Lian thought that she didn't have anything good to give away, but her embroidery skills were decent, so she sent it over today. Lu Mingui looked at it and praised, "It's really good. Look at these stitches, they're so tight. These lotus petals look so real, neither gaudy nor vulgar, but extremely elegant, just like a master craftsman." Shui Lian was pleased by the praise, but still humbly replied, "Auntie, you flatter me. I just did this embroidery haphazardly when I had nothing else to do." Lu Mingui happily accepted the gift and then invited them, "It's almost lunchtime, so don't go back. Come and have something to eat at the shop." After much politeness, the two finally couldn't resist Lu Mingui's insistence and followed her into the restaurant. The store was packed with people. Lu Mingui first led the two to their seats and then got to work. After Shui Lian and her husband finished their meal, they didn't leave immediately but stayed to help out. The two helped tidy up, and Lu Mingui was naturally grateful. Shui Lian said, "Auntie, why don't you hire a few more helpers? This kind of busyness isn't a solution." Lu Mingui was worried about this matter. "I went to the dental clinic, but they didn't have anything suitable. That's why I'm planning to go take another look later this afternoon. If I keep working like this, my back is going to break." Shui Lian thought for a moment and said, "There are quite a few people in our village who are idle. Why don't you go to the village and pick one out? We all know each other inside and out. Li Niu's sister-in-law is a great cook and housekeeper. She can't stay at home and has always wanted to go out and earn some money." Li Niu nodded in agreement. "Auntie, the people in our village don't know how to do anything except bamboo weaving. So when I'm free, I want to find something to do." Lu Mingui thought for a moment and then said, "All right, find me 2 people. One person cleans up in front, and the other washes the dishes in the back. Regardless of gender, as long as you are quick, honest, and have a keen eye for work, that's fine. Also, you have to come on time every day, don't just come on days off." Shui Lian smiled and replied, "Don't worry, they are all fellow villagers who know us well, and their character is impeccable. I'll bring 2 people over tomorrow. If you like them, you can keep them, if not, we can find others." With the matter settled, Lu Mingui finally felt a little relieved. The next day, Shui Lian brought 2 people with her. One of them was Li Niu's sister-in-law, who was about 30 years old and named Sukan. She looked honest and didn't talk much, but she was very hardworking. The other was a young man, said to be Li Niu's cousin, named Duzi, who was quite clever. So Sukan washed the dishes in the back, while Duzi ran errands in the front. He was busy preparing 2 meals a day, meals were provided, and his monthly salary was 600 coins, settled monthly. Chapter 308 Embroidery Work. With more staff at Lu's restaurant, Lu Mingui's workload was significantly reduced. However, she still had to handle the rice cooking, since they were using an electric rice cooker. The rice cooker is in the house at Guanlin residence. That day, she was busy cooking rice when Lu Yunxi arrived. Lu Yunxi knew about her restaurant, so he asked how business was going. Lu Mingui then told her how popular the restaurant was. He added, "If it weren't for the cheap rice, vegetables, and meat here, we definitely wouldn't be able to sell it at this price. Putting everything else aside, I can't even afford to send out the soup every day." Lu Yunxi laughed and said, "Speaking of which, if it weren't for hybrid rice and Mr. Yuan, we wouldn't have enough to eat. To be honest, the fact that we can have enough to eat here is only a matter of the last few decades. By the way, your business is so good, it must be making people envious, right? Lu Mingui nodded quickly. Who says otherwise? If they can't win openly, they'll resort to underhanded tactics. Previously, the shopkeeper surnamed Wang had his rouge shop business taken away, and he was dissatisfied, so he thought of causing trouble at the restaurant, but he was beaten away. She sighed softly. Fortunately, I've made some arrangements with Magistrate Zhang. In addition, he is Zhang Yuanzhou's uncle, so he has taken good care of us. Otherwise, we won't be able to pay these taxes. Now, we can say that we have a big tree to lean on and enjoy the shade. Lu Yunxi hummed in agreement. That's right, we should give gifts when it's appropriate. Please don't be stingy with the money. After exchanging a few words, Lu Mingui took out the handkerchief that Shui Lian had given her and handed it to her. It was a gift from someone else, I'm giving it to you. This is embroidered with osmanthus flowers. I thought, since your name is also osmanthus, I'll give it to you. Lu Yunxi took it and immediately exclaimed in admiration, it's so beautiful. This handmade item is truly exceptional. How should I put it, it just looks very spiritual, and it has a different kind of feeling. Seeing that she liked it, Lu Mingui said happily, I knew you would like it. Then she took out 2 more handkerchiefs. Take a look at these 2, what do you think? Lu Yunxi continued to praise it, and as she looked at it, she said, Grandma, do you remember that silk shop on the pedestrian street? Lu Mingui naturally remembered that the fat man shattered her belief that everyone in later generations was a good person. There are bad people everywhere. The place is still empty, we haven't found a suitable business to move in. Lu Yunxi continued, I was thinking, why don't you bring some things from the Ming Dynasty to sell? Lu Mingui glanced at the handkerchief in her hand. You mean, I'm selling these things? Does anyone actually want it? Although Shui Lian's embroidery is excellent, handkerchiefs like this are not rare. Would anyone really be willing to pay for one? Lu Yunxi said confidently, someone will definitely buy it. I really like handicrafts like these. There are very few now, they are all made by machines. But things made by machines, though perfect, always feel like something is missing. I believe many people share the same thoughts as me. Lu Mingui listened attentively, understanding that this was not just a difference between the 2 people, but a huge chasm between 2 eras. She understands. Okay, then I'll go back to the village and find some craftsmen. I'll buy some from them and bring them over for you. Lu Yunxi couldn't bear to see her overworked. No rush, you don't need too much stuff. I plan to do it as a combination of selling and exhibiting. Our primary focus is on promoting culture, not on pursuing profits. Lu Mingui asked in surprise, not pursuing profits? Then what's the point of making money? Why open a shop? You'd lose a fortune. Lu Yunxi winked at her. Have you forgotten? This street has always been our family's property. Not afraid of taking a loss. You can go ahead and search for it without worry. I'll also take care of the renovations here as soon as possible. Lu Mingui nodded in agreement. The first thing I did upon returning to the Ming Dynasty was to head out of the city. The area outside the city was different from the streets, everywhere was lush and green, and spring had finally arrived. Lu Mingui likes this time of year, not for any other reason than that she can dig up a lot of wild vegetables. There were many farmers working in the fields, and a lot of wild vegetables were growing on the ridges. You could see shepherd's purse, purslane, and wild onions at a glance. The Chinese tune has also sprouted red buds, and the tender tips of the goji berries are just right for picking. Lu Mingui naturally wouldn't miss it, digging for wild vegetables as she walked. The family's big yellow dog has always followed us around. It's now grown into a large dog and has become much calmer. Li Niu's family lives in Lija village. Outside the village is a small river with extremely clear water, and people are washing clothes by the river. From a distance, bamboo can be seen everywhere in the village, growing vigorously. Lu Mingui hadn't walked far when she ran into Shui Lian. Shui Lian didn't care about washing clothes, she threw down the washing mallet and came over. Oh, Auntie, it really is you. I thought I was seeing things. What brings you here? Please come in and have a seat at my home. Lu Mingui was looking for her anyway, so she didn't stand on ceremony and went with her. Shui Lian's house was very clean, and her 2 children were very well behaved. Lu Mingui didn't come empty-handed, she brought sponge cake, a little pastry that everyone seems to love. Of course, except for people in later generations. Upon seeing the pastries, Shui Lian knew they weren't cheap and made another round of excuses. Lu Mingui said, "This is my first time visiting. I'm just buying something for the child to sweeten their mouth. Why are you being so polite?" Shui Lian had no choice but to accept it, and then sent the child to call Li Niu back. "Auntie, please sit down for a while. Li Niu has gone to work in the fields. Have lunch at home and try our seasonal delicacies." She knew that Aunt Lu's family came from the north and might not have tasted the local home-cooked dishes. Even if they had, it didn't matter, it was just her way of showing her appreciation. Lu Mingui quickly refused, no need, I just happened to be passing by." "What about the older generation in your family?" Shui Lian said, "We've separated our households and are living separately. My parents-in-law are living with the eldest son's family, and we just need to send them grain every year. That's fine too, they can close the door and live their own little lives." After chatting for a while, Lu Mingui said, "The handkerchief you gave me last time was really nice. I know an expert who wants to buy some, so I'd also like to order some handkerchiefs from you. How about we buy it at the market price?" Shui Lian hesitated. She had no in-laws to help her, and her children were still young, so she had to rely on herself for everything. "If I'm done with my work, it's not a problem to embroider a few handkerchiefs in my spare time." But what Aunt Lu wanted was clearly not just a few handkerchiefs, she wanted a long-term business. She thought about it again and again, and decided to tell the truth. "Auntie, I have to take care of everything, both inside and outside the house. Doing some embroidery occasionally is no big deal, but I really don't have the energy to do it every day." Lu Mingui wasn't disappointed. She had just checked, and Shui Lian's family was. Indeed, as she had said, with a lot of things going on. Don't underestimate these household chores. As soon as you open your eyes, you're busy with chores, sweeping, feeding the chickens, cooking, washing clothes, and working in the fields. It may seem like you haven't done much at the end of the day, but you're actually very tired. Chapter 309 Knife Fish. Lu Mingui stood up to say goodbye. "All right, you go ahead and do your work. If you have time, embroider a few handkerchiefs for me. It's okay if you don't have time." Shui Lian quickly urged her to stay, saying, "Auntie, don't rush. Have dinner at home before you leave." Just then, Li Niu returned, carrying a fish basket on his back. He laughed and said, "I heard from Shalwa that Auntie came, so it's time to put away the fishing traps. We also caught a lot of snails. They say the snails from Mingqian are as good as fat geese, so it's a good opportunity for Auntie to try them." Lu Mingui took a look and sure enough, there were a lot of snails in the fish basket. They were indeed a good thing. She said, "Actually, besides bamboo shoots and wild vegetables, I'll also accept any snails you catch for me. It's the best time to enjoy it before Qingming Festival." Li Niu hurriedly asked, "Do you want snails too?" "It's just for the novelty, there's not much meat in it." He would be happy if he could accept it. Compared to snails, which have very little meat, pork is much more satisfying to eat, as it's rich and flavorful. The extra money could be used to make clothes for the family or to repair the roof before summer. Lu Mingui thought to herself, "You guys don't know this, do you? Sometimes people specifically like to eat this meatless dish." She nodded. "Yes, I'll take them. Besides snails, I'll also have river clams and river mussels. I want them all." Li Niu was overjoyed. "That's great. Putting everything else aside, what we have most of in this Zhongnan water town is all kinds of fresh river delicacies. Auntie, look, I caught some yellow sand clams and river shrimp today. If you want, I'll go down into the river and catch some more." He's a local, an excellent swimmer, and can catch fish and shrimp with ease. Then he added, "Mandarin fish is delicious these days, but the best one is the ribbon fish. The taste is so fresh it'll make your eyebrows fall off." Shui Lian then added, "Speaking of knife fish, I've had knife fish rice before, it was truly delicious." She recalled, "I used bamboo skewers to secure the cleaned ribbon fish inside the pot lid and placed it on top of the rice that was about to be cooked. When cooking rice, the ribbon fish is steamed along with it. When the rice is cooked and the lid is lifted, the fish meat will fall off onto the rice. The fish bones are still nailed to the pot lid, the fish meat is snow white, and there are no fish bones. The rice also absorbs the umami flavor of the ribbon fish, making even the rice extremely delicious." Upon hearing this, Lu Mingui felt that this knife fish rice must be delicious. Li Niu said, "Isn't this what the old folks used to call the jade shatters and the 3 eliminations? The fish scales disappear, the internal organs disappear, and the fish bones disappear." Lu Mingui couldn't help but clap her hands. What a great name. Isn't it just like a MATCH3 puzzle? However, Li Niu failed to catch any knife fish this time. He said that the knife fish in the Yangtze River are the most delicious, especially those that swim from the sea to the river to spawn in the spring, which are the best. It's a pity they're hard to catch. This made Lu Mingui give up the idea. No rush. Since we're already in Zhongnan, if we can't eat it this spring, we can wait until next year. Despite the warm invitation from Li Niu and his wife to stay, she still declined. I won't eat. I have a lot of things to do at home. You guys go about your business. She then said to Shui Lian, if you have time, please embroider the handkerchief for me again. Don't rush, you can embroider it when you have time. Only then did they leave Lija village. Li Niu then asked, Aunt Lu asked you to embroider a handkerchief. Why didn't you agree? Shui Lian retorted playfully, do you think I don't want to agree? I really don't have that much time. My aunt said she'd give me 30 coins for each handkerchief if I wanted a lot. I'd like to earn that money too, but I can't do anything around the house without her. Li Niu thought it made sense. His wife was capable and took care of everything. He thought for a moment and said, don't many people in your mother's village know how to embroider? Why don't you talk to Aunt Lu and let them do it? Shui Lian thought this made sense and quickly said, okay, I'll talk to Aunt Lu when I have time. Lu Mingui left Lija village and headed up the mountain again. I have some free time today, so I'll check on the wild vegetables and peppers growing on the mountain, see how the eggplants are doing, and maybe dig up some more wild vegetables while I'm at it. In just a few months, the once barren mountain has been transformed, turning from a withered yellow landscape into a lush and verdant one. Chunsheng and Xiaoping, who were guarding the mountain, were herding the ducks back to the duck house. The two boys have only been with the Song family for a few months, but they have already gained a lot of weight, are strong and healthy, and work efficiently. Upon seeing Lu Mingui arrive, she hurriedly went up to greet her, calling out, Auntie. Lu Mingui asked a few questions about the situation on the mountain, and only felt relieved to find that everything was fine. I went to check on the chili seedlings again. They had grown quite a bit, and some had already sprouted tiny flower buds. The cucumber trellis has been erected, and it's waiting for the vines to grow and climb. The remaining land was also planted with loofah, pumpkin, cowpea, radish, and chives, scallions, and garlic sprouts. Some of these vegetables will be given to Xu Yang, and the rest will be kept for their own restaurant. Lu Mingui was delighted to see all this. He looked around the mountain, and before he knew it, it was getting dark. Only then did she carry the basket home. Before they had gone far, the big yellow dog suddenly barked at the grass by the ditch, woof woof woof. The sudden shout startled Lu Mingui. She slowly walked over and found a figure lying in the grass. She was startled. What was that? Had someone died here? It's best not to meddle in these kinds of things. Just as I was about to leave, I heard the man suddenly cough violently, his breathing sounding like a bellows. Lu Mingui breathed a sigh of relief. The man wasn't dead. She carefully walked over and saw that Da Huang was still barking at the man. Rhubarb. She scolded him, and Da Huang shut up. The man moved his body, as if trying to sit up, but he didn't have the strength. Lu Mingui hurriedly asked, is there anything I can help you with? The man shook his head slightly. No, no need. Judging from the voice, it was a woman, and she was quite old. Lu Mingui relaxed a little. The place wasn't far from the hilltop, and the person was thin and a woman, so there shouldn't be any danger. She asked again, where do you feel unwell? This time, there was no answer, and the man, who had barely managed to prop himself up, collapsed again. Lu Mingui mustered her courage and walked over. In the dim light of the sunset, she saw that the person was a woman of about 50 years old with an abnormal flush on her face, clearly indicating that she had a fever. Her eyes were closed and her breathing was rapid. She didn't look well. Lu Mingui couldn't bear to watch the person die like that, and she became anxious. There was no one around, and she couldn't find anyone to help her. She hurried back up the mountain and called Chunsheng and Xiaoping over, come with me to rescue someone. Upon hearing this, both children ran down the mountain. Auntie, this person has a fever, what should we do? Let's take him to the clinic first. The hilltop wasn't close to the clinic, so the three of them took turns carrying the old woman, and finally managed to get her to the clinic. To everyone's surprise, the doctor shook his head repeatedly upon taking one look. It's a lung abscess. You were brought in too late, there's no hope. He then said to Lu Mingui, you all need to take your medicine too, to prevent the illness from affecting you. Get the medicine and carry the person away quickly. Lu Mingui was stunned when she heard this. She knew that lung abscess could be transmitted to others, so she had the doctor prescribe some herbal medicine for the three of them. After leaving the clinic, Chun Sheng asked, "Auntie, what should we do with this person? Was it carried out and buried outside the city?" Lu Mingui first shook her head. "He's not dead yet, let's try anything, even if it's a last resort. Didn't the doctor prescribe a lot of medicine? We'll all drink it, so give it to her too." Chapter 310 Buying Medicine. A strong smell of medicine wafted from the backyard of the Song family. Lu Mingui and the others drank it all, and the remaining medicine was then forced down the old woman's throat. Later that night, the old woman still had a high fever and showed no signs of waking up. "My family is a little worried," Song Xiaodong said. "Mother, I don't think this person is well. Why don't we send him up the mountain? If it really doesn't work out, let them be laid to rest." Lu Mingui saw that although the old woman looked extremely uncomfortable, she did not seem to be dying. "Since he's not dead, we can't just send him up the mountain like that. This person looks pitiful, I wonder what happened to them. Let's wait and see, maybe they can survive, living is a good deed in itself." She shook her head. "You all go to sleep, I'll stay and watch over you a little longer." After everyone had left, she thought for a moment, then turned and went to the White House. During the day, the thought had flashed through her mind, people in later generations live longer and have made great progress in many areas. Even infertility can be cured, so other problems shouldn't be an issue either. She first went to Sister Yang to ask, "Do you know where I can see a doctor and buy medicine?" Sister Yang looked her up and down and asked, "You mean the hospital? Are you feeling unwell somewhere?" Lu Mingui shook her head. She knew about the hospital. "That's where you're taken to see a doctor, like the last time I broke my leg, Lu Yunxi took me to that community hospital, or something." She couldn't bring the old woman with her, she just wanted to buy some medicine to take back. When Sister Yang heard that she only wanted to buy medicine, she said, "Go out of the market, turn left, cross the road, and you'll see the pharmacy. However, you need to explain your symptoms to them clearly, and the doctor inside will prescribe medication for you." Lu Mingui left in a hurry. The pharmacy is a comprehensive pharmacy that combines Chinese and Western medicine. As soon as I entered, I smelled disinfectant and various medicinal odors. The interior area is quite large. There's a weighing scale by the door, go inside and you'll see the cashier. To the left of the cashier is the Western medicine section, where medicine boxes are neatly arranged in glass cabinets, with various medicines categorized and arranged in an orderly manner. On the right is the traditional Chinese medicine section, where a doctor in a white coat is sitting, looking down at something. Lu Mingui was at a loss for words, but fortunately someone came forward to greet her. It was a young woman. She asked, "Auntie, what kind of medicine do you want to buy? Or show me the box of the medicine you took before, and I'll get it for you." Lu Mingui had no idea what medicine she needed to buy. She opened her mouth, speechless, trying to figure out what to say. The girl asked again, "Have you forgotten the name of the medicine? So what illness is it? Or what are the symptoms? Surely you know that. This person doesn't look old, so why does he look so blank? Could it be Alzheimer's? Don't ever say you only remember the word capsule, or you'll never find it." Fortunately, Lu Mingui finally nodded. "I know that. It's called lung abscess. Yes, someone in my family has lung abscess." The girl didn't react immediately. "Cost? Or a Filipino maid? What's wrong? I've never heard of that." Lu Mingui couldn't help but feel anxious. How could she not have heard of it? She thought for a moment and then quickly added, "It's wheezing and coughing, phlegm in the lungs." The girl was still puzzled, but she was very patient. "Wheezing? Is it asthma or a cough?" The two of them chatted idly, their conversation completely nonsensical. Just as the girl was about to lose her patience, the doctor in the white coat next to her suddenly said, "It's pneumonia." He looked Lu Mingui up and down. "I didn't expect you to know the name for pneumonia in ancient times. You're quite cultured." Lu Mingui also looked at him. He was an elderly doctor with a white beard. She was very excited and stepped forward to ask, "You know about this illness? What medicine should I take?" The doctor replied, "Pneumonia requires an X-ray at the hospital. It's not as simple as just thinking it's pneumonia. Why don't you go to the hospital?" Lu Mingui immediately remembered that when she had fallen and hurt her leg, the community doctor had also told her to get an X-ray. "I don't know what this thing is, but it's so powerful." No matter how skilled she was, she couldn't bring her old woman along to film. "However, now that we know it's pneumonia, let's just treat it." We're already doing this as a last resort, so why bother with taking X-rays? She decisively said, I've already taken the picture, but I still need to buy medicine. The old doctor looked at her suspiciously. Did you really take the picture? Where's the medical record? Let me see it. Lu Mingui started to panic. She had encountered someone who was serious. What should she do? It was the girl next to her who spoke up to defuse the situation. Drive. Chow, I don't think this auntie is the type to lie. Maybe he just forgot his medical records. Are you really making someone make another trip? They're getting old, it's not easy for anyone. She felt it was unnecessary. If it were really that urgent, wouldn't she have gone to the hospital already? Why would she come to the pharmacy to buy medicine? Dr. Chi was somewhat displeased, but he managed to restrain himself. He then asked, what are the symptoms? How many days have you been coughing? What's your fever? Lu Mingui asked in surprise, how many degrees? How much alcohol does alcohol have? And how much does alcohol have? How is she supposed to say that? Should she say 42 degrees or 52 degrees? But people aren't wine, can their alcohol content be the same? Otherwise, we should run away first, go to another pharmacy, or ask Lu Yunxi. Seeing that she didn't speak, the old doctor's beard bristled with anger again. You don't even know how high her fever is. What kind of illness are you treating? Really, being sick is no joke. Although pneumonia is a minor ailment, it can develop into a serious illness if left untreated. Lu Mingui lowered her head and murmured, I forgot for a moment. How about this, I'll go back and take a look first. He turned and was about to leave. The girl quickly stopped her. Auntie, don't worry, pneumonia can cause fever, it's normal. She didn't want to miss this deal, as it was related to her performance evaluation, so she enthusiastically recommended it. I'll get you a box of azithromycin. It's an anti-inflammatory drug. Take 1 tablet twice a day. Give me another bottle of Xuanbei loquat syrup. Take 1 spoonful at a time, twice a day. Do not drink water for half an hour after drinking this. Give me another box of Tongshuan Lifei pills. This loquat syrup is a traditional Chinese medicine that relieves cough and reduces phlegm, while Tongshuan Lifeng pills relieve cough and clear the lungs, both are effective for the symptoms. Then she took out a thermometer. Don't you have a thermometer at home? This won't do. Here's one for you to take home and use, it'll only cost 15 yuan. By the way, take Chinese medicine and Western medicine half an hour apart, and eat a light diet, avoiding spicy and stimulating foods. If the condition doesn't improve after 3 days of treatment, or if the fever doesn't subside, you should go directly to the hospital. Lu Mingui nodded, indicating that she had written it all down. The girl then asked, it's 82 yuan in total. Is there medical insurance? Lu Mingui reacted quickly, shaking her head. No, I'll just pay directly. Okay, just scan this code. After Lu Mingui walked out of the shop, the girl said to the old doctor, don't be so stubborn. This person clearly comes from a poor family, which is why he doesn't go to the hospital. Isn't it the same when we prescribe medicine for people? The old doctor sighed and didn't say anything more. Lu Mingui returned home, and it was still late at night, pitch black.